keep it spicy. There's a fact, we on the right track, yeah. Driving me wild, giddy up like a stallion. Saddle up and ride you, we crossing the line like a champion. Driving me wild, giddy up like a stallion. Saddle up and ride you, we crossing the line, we some champions. We know how to make it rain in the bedroom. We don't need a club, got our own booth. Coming at the same time, yeah. You don't got the time for us. When we make it rain in the bedroom, we don't tell us all what we gon' do. Dirty little secrets, yeah. Keep it in the sheets with us. When we make it rain in the bedroom, we don't need a club, got our own booth. Coming at the same time, yeah. You don't got the time for us. When we make it rain in the bedroom, we don't tell us all what we gon' do. Dirty little secrets, yeah. Keep it in the sheets with us. When we make it rain in the bedroom. When we make it rain in the, you got me exclusive. I'm so high, up and lucid. You take me to a safe place. We steady on the same pace, yeah. I'm crazy, you like that. Don't back down, no you talk back. Keep it spicy, there's a fact. We on the right track, yeah. Yeah, you don't got the time for us. When we make it rain in the bedroom, we don't tell us all what we gon' do. Dirty little secrets, yeah. Keep it in the sheets with us. When we make it rain in the bedroom. 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 When we make it rain in the
Haven't we made it, my love? Oh, honey, look how we made it this far. Hasn't the pace been a long bit, honey? But take a look at where we are. Haven't we made it, my love? Oh, honey, look how we made it this far. Hasn't the pace been a long bit, honey? But take a look at where we are. Isn't the day so exciting? Oh, honey, when I wake up, I'm feeling brand new. All I can say is I look like new money, and the only thing I know is true. I owe it to you.
centerfold, hard to hide it. Oh,
in that kind of like early blogosphere.
in the writing. If we stay, we're complacent. Too much time to be wasted. I don't wanna lie to you like this. I don't wanna fight with you like this. We gon' pay the price if we blinded. Oh, baby, don't you wait on
President Trump's return to the White House.
baby, don't you wait on me. Baby, don't you wait on me. Baby, don't you wait on me. don't you wait on me. Baby, don't you wait on me. Baby, don't you wait on me.
I think we all wish we were like these cows, Tom.
Baby, don't you wait on me. 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 Baby, don't you wait on me.
You're the type to walk from room to room, caught up in the pursuit of everything you say you don't want. I'm just something obstructing your view, so do what you want to. There's no reason to put up a front. You're caught up, catching up, thinking that I can't see what you're doing. It's not enough to be in love. You're curious and careless. You couldn't care less. So baby, do better if you can do better. You gotta choose to be with me or whoever. You better do better if you can do better. You gotta choose. Give me pain or give me pleasure. You're the type to tell me you need me, turn around and leave me, just so you can come crawling like you. Beg forgiveness, but then forget whatever you regret. It's penitence that just doesn't last. You're caught up, catching up, thinking that I can't see what you're doing. It's not enough to be in love. You're curious and
I still have not worked out that transition. Hi everyone, Merry Christmas. How's everyone's week in between going? Good evening to New York. Good morning-ish to Australia. As per usual, not quite sure what the time is in Europe. No offense. Guys, so much news. I actually feel very suspicious because I feel like a lot of stuff is happening while people are on holidays, while people are, you know, chilling. Whoa, did you hear that? No? I've written notes. You know what I want to get up for you? Oh, I should be planning and getting things up. Yeah, I'm more alarmed by, hang on. Oh, yeah, okay. I'm more concerned about what is happening with Africa. I do want to go over the Somaliland stuff. Sorry, guys. I'm just getting... Guys, I officially went to the doctor. I have tonsillitis. So I am sick. Okay? It's official. So, yeah. Just give me a little bit of grace as I suffer through things. Okay? I was being gaslit by the health professionals. But yes, finally, I am being told, yes, Queen, you are in fact sick. You're not making it up. Your throat looks like a war zone. Which we shouldn't be joking about war zones at the moment. I actually wanted to do an end of year audit where we like went through everything that the American administration has done this year to kind of like look at where we're at, compare it to Project 2025 to be like to track progress. But maybe we'll do that tomorrow or the next day because there's some other stuff I want to go through that's like a little bit easier, gentler on the soul. How do I get to Truth Social? Because I do want to quickly talk about... Oh, first of all, Princess Kate. Out and about. Anniversary of the incident. Hi, Brelly. Yeah, I do want to go through and kind of see where we're at with that. But I think I might do that tomorrow or the next day. Today, I want to look at some of Trump's latest little fun little tidbits. Truth Social. He was doing some stuff on the Epstein Files. So there are a few concerning things. Something interesting about the Epstein Files. Wait, I'm jumping. I'm sick. Focus. Firstly, Princess Kate, ominous scar on her head, which only convinces me further that I was correct. Okay? I was correct. It will all come out in due time. And when it does come out, you will think of me. Okay? Okay. Next up. Hang on. We've got multiple bits of princess news, as I like to call it. I wrote it out on my phone because I do my best work lying down. More princess news would be... Oh, Carolyn Levitt is pregnant. I'm sure you've all seen it. Now, obviously, Carolyn Levitt, evil, terrible, terrible woman. But mid-blonde to mid-blonde, I do have to look out for her. And something I thought was good, because she's going to go to prison. Like, she needs an excuse to get out of this administration because she will go to prison in the same way that Nixon's press secretary went down even when he didn't necessarily. Like, someone will go to prison for lying. It's going to be her. So a really neat way for her to get out of this is to pop out a little baby. Really easy way to be like, oh, I'm sorry, but like this whole movement is about like taking care of your family and I can't do this because I've got a baby. Very smart on Carolyn Levitt's side, possibly the best way out of this mess for her. Very good idea, Carolyn. Very good job. Next in princess news, you wouldn't think this is a princess, but actually it is. Zohran Mamdani has got rid of his beard. The people are not happy. The people don't like this lighter look on him. I'm not even going to mention his wife's feature in the cut because it's so good that if any of you are critical about it, I might actually lose my mind. So we can't even talk about it, okay? We can talk about Zohran's beard because that's something I will know it's a problem when Zohran gets a mo. Okay, I fixed my subs. I did. I picked a magic number. So I wanted to reflect your actual gifts. I'm working on also adding I'm working on fixing things, guys. I'm working on fixing things. I do want to, okay, some things I want to do today. There's a plastic pills video on Nick Fuentes that I would like to watch. there is the interview from Doomscroll with Liz from QAnon that I would like to watch. I'd like to watch the 60-minute segment on CCOT. I'd like to talk about the Epstein Files a little bit. I would like to talk about my opinions on Donald Trump generally. Yeah, some ICE issues that are worth talking about. The attacks on Ukraine, worth talking about. Okay, the Somalia issue. Maybe we go into the Somalia issue first. Actually, let me get something up to show you. Okay. You already watched it, Perp, but you told me to watch it. Oh, really? But we gotta watch it. Maybe we don't get to watch it. Okay. Well, that's a shame. Okay. This is untrue. Yeah, this is better. Okay. Here. That's the wrong image. Everyone's very wrong about how big Somaliland is, because recently, so I actually, when I heard the news about, God, I'm just talking about the news without telling you the news. For those of you who don't know, Israel recognized Somaliland. Somaliland is a small territory, an autonomous zone in Somalia. Okay, but it's kind of, when I first heard of it, I thought it was the Swahili in Morocco, and I thought, wow, because that's a separatist kind of independence movement that really is almost more fucked over than the Palestinians. Like, if there were a people in Africa that deserved sort of that kind of recognition, it's them. They're in like the upper part of Morocco. So it's like, how counterintuitive for Israel to recognize them. How nonsensical, how contradictory. No, not them. They're recognizing Somaliland, which is in Somalia, and that makes a lot more sense. Now, let me see if I'm trying to find you an image. But the problem is nothing is up to date, because what happened was recently there's the Katumo state, which let me see if I can find it, because bits of Somaliland, it's basically one tribe that has broken off. And okay. Israel, well, I mean, all of that random anti-Somali kind of talk that was happening, here we go. This will make sense to you. For some reason, when Trump was all like shitting on Somalia and everyone was kind of like, what did Somalia do? Now it makes a lot of sense, and I'll show you why. Okay, if you look here. Oh, I just want, God, working on a PC. For you guys, it's fine. For me, I'm in hell. Guys, here we go. So, this is Somalia as you know it, right? Okay. People think that this whole area here is Somaliland, but Katumo broke off. That is not, and went back to main Somalia. So it's just this little bit here that is Somaliland, right? Now, let me see if this one shows it better. No, it's nice and blurry. But let me explain why this is important. Map. Oh no. I've got Somalis in chat who are going to be checking me. Okay. Let me just have a look. Somaliland has actually been around and recognized by Israel previously. What am I looking for, guys? Oh. Technically, it is part of Greater Israel in the entire map of Greater Israel. I need a... So there are a few reasons that we being Israel and the United States, guys, some things that need to happen. One, I need a new mouse. That happens today. Okay? I have this ergonomic thing. I would rather my hand break. Okay? This is the bane of my existence. This can die. I fucking hate this. I hate it so much. Okay? Second, the PC just needs to completely change. Okay? Okay, so the UAE, I love how it just like, it's either talking about the Middle East or Africa. I want to look at both of them. Okay, perfect. Thank you. But it's blurry. Great. This is why you prepare. Yeah, I know. That's how it feels. Okay. Everything is blurry when I click on it because it hates me. It hates my guts. Okay, this is there we go. But it doesn't show you. So this is Somalia. Okay. Over here is Somaliland. Okay. Now, if you recall, Yemen has been causing some key issues for Israel. Also, this is called the hang on. What's Djibouti mentioned in Project 2025? I need to go back. Hang on. Nothing is working today. So earlier in the year, there was a discussion that you would have heard this one, that recognizing Somaliland, in exchange, they would accept Palestinians there. So that's one thing that might be happening. Another thing that might be happening is building a military base there, which would make people very upset. Sudan is already upset because Somaliland is used by the UAE as a hub. And for those of you who don't know what's happening in Sudan, Sudan has these two kind of warring factions, the Sudanese army and the RSF, the Rapid Support Forces. It's very hard to discuss what is the kind of insurgent group because of how this conflict started. Basically, they overthrew their dictator, then they worked together to do that, and then they put in a kind of transition government, and then recently General al-Burhan, who runs the Sudanese army, was like rewriting the constitution and wrote into it that the RSF would be absorbed into the Sudanese army, and the leader of the RSF, whose name is Hemeti, he was like, fuck off, no way, no, because that would be like him losing all of his power. So they kind of went to war. The RSF is supported by the UAE. So the UAE is using Somaliland as a military port to get shit to the RSF in Sudan. Okay. Now so Israel, their vision of what Greater Israel is in traditional Zionism expands all over this region here and then all the way down to here. So this is technically part of Greater Israel, but there are very few. It's a failed state, yeah, because the problem with Sudan is like, who is there to, like, whenever people are like, we should intervene, we should do something, we should, like, why aren't people talking about Sudan? The reason people aren't talking about Sudan is because it's like very complicated to work out what can be done to fix the situation. And this is like, a lot of the time, the problem you have is when it comes to, why does Ethiopia not care? Ethiopia does care. But Sudan cares more because Sudan's the one that's currently being fucked left, right, and center. why didn't Israel take Egypt when they had the chance? I'm not saying that Greater Israel is like, okay. There are many different forms of Zionism. There are many different pictures of Zionism. Over Israel's existence, there have been different leaders with different sets of goals, okay? Not everyone is pursuing the Greater Israel project. Not everyone is thinking that that needs to be done in one stage. Some people are just happy with Israel being Israel. Sometimes that's how the state acts. I am not suggesting that recognizing the independence of Somaliland is an attempt to get Greater Israel. I'm just acknowledging that for some Zionists, they see this area of Africa as part of Greater Israel. I'm not saying this is some sort of colonial project, and I'm not saying there is a push at the moment to get that. I think the push, if anything, is more to relocate Palestinians there, one, and to get a port, right? If we look at Somaliland, what has Yemen been doing to fuck with them? It's been fucking with this here, the Gulf of Aden, right? And so this is the strategic here, the port of Berbera, I don't know. The exit from the Red Sea is right here, and it has become a pressure point for Israel. So recognizing Somaliland gives them a very strategic base right here in this trade route zone, okay? So it effectively encircles Egypt now, it encircles Saudi Arabia, and this is Israel working with the UAE to do this, okay? Because the UAE was also trying to get Israel to recognize Somaliland earlier in the year. And also this pisses off Turkey. So this is like, what is it called? This is the choke point for global trade, and it's used constantly in war. It's called the Bab el-Mandeb. And so this is really to counteract the issue with trade routes and the ability to create a chokehold here, and maybe the opportunity to move Palestinians out of Gaza to Somaliland. That is the point of recognizing them. And it makes sense now why Trump has been shitting so hard on Somalia, which made absolutely no sense before. Berbera. Thank you. But yeah, so Somaliland was briefly independent in the 1960s. Israel supported them then as well. They declared their independence from Somalia in 1991. They didn't receive recognition for that, but I'm fairly sure Israel recognized them then. But yeah, it's basically a really good strategic point for Yemen, a way to get rid of this choke point here, the Bab el-Mandeb, and maybe the opportunity to move Palestinians into Somaliland. That is the reason for this. Obviously, this is crazy. It's also very strange because, as I said, it's not a stable state. I don't understand how it will run, especially now that the Katumo state left it and rejoined Somalia. Also, Somalia is set to assume the presidency of the United Nations Security Council. Now, I do want to say there was something, an article that came out in like the Atlantic that was like how, hang on. Let me just talk to you for a minute. It was like, the Liberals have lost international law. The Liberals have lost international law. I don't think that is exactly true. You know how there was all that talk? It's very interesting, actually. I was thinking about this because Nathan was talking to me about this I was talking with Nathan about how, maybe he didn't see us as talking about this. I did, how like a few years ago, things on both sides of politics seemed like they were incredibly intelligent. Like there was some intelligent undercurrent, whether it be anti-establishment or like the heterodox. And like, I think there was also that in international relations where everyone was like, oh, we're going to move from a unipolar world to a multipolar world. I do not think that is what we are seeing. What we are seeing is if you as a state are willing to wreak absolute havoc, you will get away with it. It's not multipolar, it's not unipolar, it's nothing will be enforced. Literally nothing will be enforced against you. And if you are willing to be an asshole, then you will just get away with it because there is no longer any kind of enforcement mechanism. And to me, it's just indicative of how every sphere of politics at the moment is just stupid. It's not, there's no intelligent design. There's no like greater plan. It's just like the stupidest possible, most reckless form of politics that we've ever seen. Oh, I'll have to look at that, Fabian. Yeah, it's like the Trump kind of ideology has infected everything. And it's not like there is no intelligence to it. Oh, wait, guys, I need to find these Truth Social things. Speaking of how dumb Trump is. Yeah, like, oh my God, a country's going to condemn you. You know? It's not even might makes right, right? Because in a lot of these situations, there are stronger countries. It's not even like, it's not about the size of the country. It's about what you're willing to do. It's like the death of proprietary. It's kind of like, because look at it, look at a country like Israel. Israel, I guess, has the big dog of the US behind them. But ultimately, there are a lot of countries around Israel that are more mighty, arguably, if you buy into the idea that they don't have a nuclear weapon. There is the ability for Israel to get wrecked, but it doesn't, and it is willing to kind of cause havoc. It is willing to attack every country around it. It's just willing to do it in a way that the other countries are not willing to do. I'm trying to think of another example of a havoc causer that's a little bit small. I mean, Qatar, on the opposite side, wreaks a little bit of havoc and is very... Guys, something very weird I learned. Just sorry for the zag. Do you know Zara Larsson? Her parents live in Bahrain. What's that about? Don't know. It is super nihilistic. It's super concerning. I don't know how you restore from here is the problem. Like once people give up on a system of enforcement that really is only, in the same way that there are lots of things that are only given power because we give them power, like constitutions, etc. International law is one of those things. And if everyone's just kind of decided that it doesn't matter, like how do you ever get back to a point of it mattering? I don't know. I really need to look into this Djibouti mentioned in Project 2025. I'm going to just write it down. I've got tonsillitis, we can't be singing. Djibouti. No, NATO's fucked. NATO is so fucked. Unfortunately, America has legitimately told Europe, we're out. So Europe might be able to transform NATO into something different, but obviously America said, we're done with NATO, and Ukraine has said, we are willing to give up being in NATO for peace, which fucking sucks for them because, like, actually, let's watch the... I just want to see what's happening in... Because Trump and Zelensky are meant to be meeting today. Let's watch a little bit of...
Russia attacked Ukraine's capital city, Kyiv, overnight with a barrage of ballistic missiles and drones. It came just a day before President Trump and Ukrainian leader Volodymyr Zelensky are to meet in Florida to talk about prospects for peace. On his way to the U.S., Zelensky met with Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney in Halifax. He said Russia's attack was revealing.
This attack is, again, Russia's answer on our peace efforts, and it's really it shows that Putin doesn't want peace, and we want peace.
In Kyiv, residents and first responders assessed the damage from the attacks. Several apartment buildings and key energy infrastructure facilities were hit. At least one person was killed and nearly 30 others were injured. A quick-moving winter storm swept across the Great Lakes and Northeast overnight, dumping snow and ice that snarled post-Christmas travel in the air and on the train between.
Okay, that's just different news.
That they'll move.
That's fine. There was something I saw as well, guys. Just speaking of Russia, which was to do with their secret man. Does secret man make sense to you? Putin's secret keeper dead. Okay, let's just see. Always interesting to watch who drops dead in Russia. Ukraine cannot trust America at all. To be honest, if I'm Zelensky, I am not talking to America anymore. Honestly, you should just be talking to Europe. America does not have your interests in mind. America is working with Russia. It's not... I wouldn't be counting on America as a neutral arbiter for peace. Okay. Vladimir, I thought it was a paywall. What are you talking about, Fabian? Are you talking about Donald Trump's ear pillow? Vladimir Putin's keeper of secrets died on Christmas Day, less than 2 years after the Russian president fired him. If I can think of a dangerous job, I think secret keeper is up there. Maybe number one. If I'm thinking of it's like poison chalice sipper and then secret keeper. Colonel General Yuri Sadavenko, 56, died suddenly from heart disease. Heart disease is not something we can trust, right? On Christmas Day in Moscow, according to Russian news outlets. Sadavenko served as Deputy Defense Minister for more than a decade before he and former Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu were ousted in May 2024 in a massive Kremlin shakeup. Shoigu, to whom Sadavenko has reportedly acted as a gatekeeper, is now the Secretary of Russia's Security Council. Sadavenko, who had been sanctioned by the US, UK, and other Western states, reportedly showed no signs of ill health before his death. Sus. He had previously been embroiled in a scandal when his wife, Maria Kitaeva, left him for another Deputy Defense Minister, Timur Ivanov. Thank you, Fabian. According to The Sun, there is drama in the Russian court. It did not end with the deaths of the Romanovs. Ivanov, 50. He was arrested in April 2024 and convicted in July 2025 on charges of embezzlement and money laundering, receiving a 13-year prison sentence. Many such cases in Russia. I'm sorry. It's how I feel about the Epstein Files. It's also how I feel about, if you're going to indict someone for money laundering in Russia, just indict everyone. You know? At this stage, who in the Russian government isn't money laundering? It's kind of like, if you're not, you're an idiot. Because everyone else is doing it. This is kind of I think with the Epstein Files coming out, and they are trying that Aldous Huxley, Brave New World, there's just so many files that no one is kind of able to comprehend what's going on. There's so much crime, there's so much bad shit. But it's like, America looks super embarrassing now for impeaching Bill Clinton for lying about a blowjob. It's like, I think maybe he can get away with that. I think you look a bit embarrassing now. You know what I love as well? When Trump's like, release the Democrats in the files. And we're all like, release the Democrats in the files. And even the Democrats like, yeah, release our names. We don't care. No, Fabian, you know what I love about everyone's interested in the contents of the Epstein Files. I am interested in the metaphysics of the Epstein Files. Because first, the Epstein Files were sitting on Pam Bondi's desk. Okay? So they were there. They were sitting on her desk. Then there were no Epstein Files. Okay, so let's follow along. Sitting on her desk. Then they're gone. No Epstein Files. They never existed. Then they were a hoax. Then they were an Obama hoax. Then Obama was in the files. They were fake files that Obama made, but they also never existed and they weren't there, even though they previously had been on Pam Bondi's desk. Now, there are more than 1 million files. I like to think of a world where there were 1 million files on Pam Bondi's desk. Okay? And you know what? I'm such a good friend that if I were friends with Pam Bondi and she came to me and she was like, there are 1 million files on my desk and they all just disappeared, I'd be like, holy fucking shit. I wouldn't even question it. I'd just be like, you're going to have to tell people that they never existed. Like, how are we going to get you out of this? How do you lose 1 million files? We'll just have to say they never existed. Blame it on Obama. Blame it on Obama. But now there are 1 million files. I just love the idea that there were once 1 million files on Pam Bondi's desk. Then for a while they just inexplicably disappeared. Now they're back. There are more than 1 million. And it's the Democrats. I love that it's the Democrats pushing this hoax distraction. It's the Democrats trying to distract from election fraud, according to Trump. But if I recall, the Epstein Files Transparency Act was pushed for by Republicans and signed by Trump. The metaphysics of these files never fail to entertain. Anyway, guys, there's a dead man in Russia. Can we please focus? Quantum bag of mechanics. Okay. Since the Russia-Ukraine war began in February 2022, several top government officials have died in suspicious or sudden circumstances. On Monday, a funeral was held in Moscow for Stanislav Orlov, 44, that is young, the head of a notorious volunteer brigade of, neo-Nazi football hooligans who have fought in Ukraine. Okay. Independent Russian news outlets have reported that Orlov, nicknamed the Spaniard, was ambushed and shot by Moscow's own security forces earlier this month. Orlov's death adds to the growing list of fatalities among the Russian military and civilian leaders, most notably Yevgeny Prigozhin. Remember when Prigozhin was marching towards Moscow and we were like, oh my god, and then he just gave up and died in a plane crash. Totally non-sus plane crash, by the way. Just totally, don't stress about it. Also, did anyone see the file? I know there are a lot of Epstein files, including baby murders, apparently. Did anyone see the file where Jeffrey Epstein is like, literally, let me talk to Putin about how to talk to Trump. You just got to make him feel good, like he's getting something out of it. That should be more concerning, I think, and be getting more attention. In July this year, Putin sacked Transport Minister Roman Starovoyt, who was found dead hours later in a park with a gunshot wound to his head. Suicide, obviously. Suicide. On the same day, 2 in 1 day, guys. On the same day, Andrei Kornichuk, 42, another transport official, who had worked closely with Starovoyt, collapsed and died of what was said to be a heart attack. A lot of heart issues in Russia, apparently. A lot of people with funky hearts in Russia. Okay. Other Russian official deaths have long... Okay, but this was a disappointing article, and let me explain why. You can't tell me that someone is the secret keeper, that is their nickname, and not tell me any of the secrets they're keeping. What do you mean? Secret keeper. Not good. Okay, also, wait, I just want to full screen. I want the... Is it this one? I had a revelation today on Twitter. I was reading... Why can't you just give me a Truth Social post? I need to find a way to get like Twitter posts up without having Twitter up. I was reading his like crazy rambles, and I realized something. Trump wants to be Jackie O. It makes sense because I'm watching him. He's like, we've renovated the Palm Room. And he's like, look at these armrests for the Kennedy Center. No one's done it. No one's done it before. What's NIDA? Okay. Yeah, no one has done marble fucking armrests because that's stupid. Okay, number one. But he's obsessed. Okay, Zestiny, I'll Google it later. I'm in the middle of doing something right now. I asked a question. I think he is like annoyed. To him, being president is a side project that he finds annoying and distracting, and really he just wants to renovate the White House. That's his like main... He's like, I've redecorated the Palm Room. I'm building a ballroom. I've got a plane. Like well, this is the thing. The decorations are Melania. And if you actually watch, the decorations are a subtle meta fight between the Trumps. Because Melania had the theme. Firstly, she was using blue butterflies, which is so funny. Secondly, the theme for her Christmas decorations were home is where the heart is, which is hilarious when she doesn't live in the White House. She's like, my heart is nowhere near you. And then Trump insults, he's like, I'm trying to tell Melania how to do the decorations. I'm trying to tell her what to do. I say it's easy. He's like shitting on her decorating. He just desperately wants to be Jackie O. He actually wants to be a first lady. He would rather that, I think. Like in the same way that Nancy Reagan was a first lady, where she took a bunch of gifts, which it was illegal and she wasn't meant to do. He wants to be that kind of first lady. He wants to take a bunch of gifts and he wants to redecorate the White House. And that's what he wants to do with his time. Yeah, I mean, lead, vitamin, that's probably the real explanation. But the fun explanation is that he's a Gemini, therefore he's ruled by Venus, therefore he's obsessed with beautiful things. And he, you know, that's what his focus is. He's very like Kanye. Both of them are Geminis in that way, in that sense. They're very aesthetically inclined. Even though, unfortunately, right, we have a man who wants to be Jackie O with the taste of a golf leader. Right? He really has the taste of someone who should just live in the Gulf because it's fugly as shit. It's just marble and gold. That's what he likes. It's disgusting. Anyway, That's my piece on him being obsessed with decorating. The next price should sell the strategic Bitcoin reserve at whatever price it is and convert Trump's ballroom into an assisted living facility. Okay, the other thing is, I want to talk about, like, obviously Trump's working on pushing the narrative back to election fraud so that they can steal another election, obviously, because there's no way currently that they can win. But it's very interesting. Did you see Nick Fuentes said that he rejected a dinner invitation from JD Vance? And then you've got Clavicular, my guy, being invited to a Peter Thiel party. I think they're really trying and pivot that direction. It's not necessarily working. So I just am interested in that. I do want to watch this video by Plastic Pills on Nick Fuentes. So maybe we'll watch that. Oh yeah. The other thing I wanted to say though is very funny. How can you have this much renovating done but still no plan for healthcare? It's like he's planning. He's thinking about things. Just not his job. Oh, the other thing, just while speaking about like Nick Fuentes and Clavicular as well, it's so crazy to me that we spent a year worried about the anti-Semitism of Zoran Mamdani when Trump literally brought Andrew Tate back to America and he's trying to reintroduce the Nazi salute. That's true, Ian. It's so strange. Oh, I've got all this stuff to talk about in terms of... Oh, just quickly again, back on Somalia. Did you see the House Republicans are trying to expel Ilhan Omar? So stupid. Okay, let's watch this thing, I think, from Plastic Pills. Andrew Tate sucks. But it's so interesting to me, right? Because I'm trying to work out I'm always trying to work things out. What are JD Vance's options? He's not a member of the Senate, right? So his only political standing is in his relationship to Trump. But Trump is obviously a sinking ship. I think he has no choice but to turn on Trump. But in order to turn on Trump, he needs to cultivate a base he doesn't have, which I think he's looking to the Groypers to do. But so far, he is not successful. So I don't think JD Vance has a choice but to turn on Trump, but it's about the timing of that decision when he does it. I think they wanted to be further ahead in Project 2025 before he does it. I think it'll definitely be after the next set of midterms. But it needs to be, he has to separate from Trump. But he has to have a base before he can do that. I don't know what the plan is. Well, the thing is, the podcast bros have sort of turned, which is why I think he's pushing for this next kind of generation. I think JD Vance is going to push for instead of going for the Joe Rogans, etc., who were his base traditionally, it seems like he and Peter Thiel are pivoting more to the Groypers, but also that younger, so like your Aiden Ross, your Clavicular, your Nick Fuentes, like this is going to be where he focuses. Yeah, I agree that the MAGA Civil War is, everything is distraction. Everything they do is distraction. But it's like, do they need a plan? Republicans always vote for the candidate. I think they need a plan. I think that the MAGA base, I think they need a plan. I don't think that will work. Okay. That's what's... An hour and 20 minutes? Opus Dei. That is actually very interesting to look at, like the Catholic. But have you noticed that all of the tech guys have been having beef with the Pope on Twitter. Very strange. Yeah, Mark Andreessen tried to pick a beef with the Pope. He's since deleted it. It's so strange. I'm so afraid of Andreessen. I don't know though. I've got to do some research for my Substack. Okay, I'll do that after stream, but let's watch a little bit of this.
I'm interested in myth.
Where there used to be pillars and cathedrals, where there used to be order, where there used to be science and reason, now there is chaos and death.
And especially the ongoing construction of myth.
All of these countries were white, were Christian, and now they're not. You want to talk about a Holocaust? We're in the middle of a Holocaust.
You know, I think Nick, he's misunderstood. He's misunderstood at the symbolic level.
You're a racist, you're a racist, you're misogynistic.
Nick Fuentes, the very name invokes.
Andreessen and Thiel are different in terms of the areas they play in. Thiel is much more your kind of Palantir, defense tech, surveillance state kind of guy. Andreessen is more your Web3. So like anything that you do on the computer, Andreessen has his fingers in. Anything to do with anything online, Andreessen has a finger in that pie, particularly in terms of money, any crypto stuff, any wallets, any online payment facilities, and AI. Andreessen Horowitz is in that. He is retarded, but I feel like the thing that worries me about Thiel, his chess score, number one. Number two, there's something about men like Elon and David Sachs and Mark Andreessen that's more braggadocious. They want to show how much power they have. Peter Thiel actively doesn't want to.
Look at you.
Holy shit. Oh, thank you. It scares me every time. You actually have to be banned from gifting though. You have to be banned because it's gonna, but now we do have angel numbers. So thank you. Worth it. Actually, worth it. Thiel, it's not the Lord of the Rings stuff. It's the fact that, okay, Elon Musk wants to be known as the richest man in the world. Thiel has a suspiciously low amount of money, which to me suggests that he's like hiding his net worth around. He doesn't like to be in the public eye. He wants to stay out of it as much. He wants people to believe that he's not involved in politics. And I think someone who like doesn't want the attention is someone you almost should be watching more. But Andreessen does make me nervous. And I do actually want to do... This is more the kind of work that I would do on my Substack, which I need to get more back into. I am going to do that this afternoon, I think. Yeah, all of these people are convincing you that they're smart, right? All of these people's main thing is like convincing you that they're smart and not lucky. Whereas a lot of the time they've failed upward. And also being smart in one area, like being good at coding, doesn't mean that you're smart politically, but for some reason they're like, yeah, all of this like layers over and moves from one side to another when it's very not true. But the problem is if you think you're smart and you think you know what's best and you have money, you can pump money into those ideas, which is stressful. Should we push for that? Are you serious, Destiny? It's terrible. It's very bad. It's very, very bad. I guess if you don't care about the continuation of the United States, then it's It's not a big deal. But if you would like America to continue, yeah, you shouldn't want little tech states. Okay, I want to look at Nick Fuentes, guys, please.
Fear. And the name invokes lists of bad words.
White nationalist and Holocaust denier Nick Fuentes.
The neo-Nazi, anti-Semitic, pro-Joseph Stalin rhetoric, etc.
A modern-day Hitler Youth.
Who is a white supremacist and a racist and anti-Semite. I mean, all of the ists and the isms.
You know what's crazy about this as well, about all of the bad words that are used about Nick Fuentes, is that they're used so much and he lets them kind of roll off him to the point that they don't seem to have an impact on him and how he is received. It's like you can call him a neo-Nazi, a white supremacist, a Stalin supporter, by Apis, and it doesn't seem to affect him. He doesn't seem to care. It's very interesting to me because, like, I hear them saying all of this and I'm like, yeah, okay, and what?
That's what this guy is.
Pro-segregation, pro-rape, anti-woman, pro-child marriage, anti-black, anti-Jew, anti-Indian, anti-Latino, anti-constitution.
I think Zestany is right there, that it is because he's so funny. And that's the problem with the entire administration is, and I say this pretty much every stream, but it is hard to push back against anything that is entertaining. People will not push back so long as they are entertained. And so the problem with the spectacle of Donald Trump, the problem with the spectacle of Kash Patel and all the fucking idiots surrounding him is that so long as they're funny, so long as they do something a bit silly, we're all going to be too entertained to actually push back in any sort of meaningful way. Ben Shapiro really fell off. Hey, people hate him now.
Pro-Hitler nutjobs like Nick Fuentes.
Hitler lover, Stalin lover, however those go together, but the list goes on. And until recently, and some big interviews, the prevailing impression of Nick was derived from clips.
Power their friendship and big gay wizards. Big gay wizards.
Yeah,
My clips
clippable.
are going viral. I have millions of followers.
This is what I was saying about Candace as well. Candace and Nick are charisma maxes, right? They have so much charisma and they create these clips where the important end of the thought is left off. So people see them, they're entertaining, they kind of agree, and they're like, oh yeah, this guy can't be too bad because, like, he's saying what I think and he is saying it well, but you don't get the whole thought. You get a little bit of the thought, right? And he has charisma. If you don't think this guy has charisma, you're just incorrect. Sorry. There's a reason he's appealing to people, and it is his charisma.
I have millions of views because people agree with me. Big gay wizards, you know, a Protestant with a baseball cap and a stupid fucking beard pops out and says, real masculinity is when I do whatever my wife says.
The clips-based economy, 10 seconds, and they show up in the feed and disappear,
Big gay wizards.
leaving their mark on who else but those poor, porn-addled internet groypers who have no hope and nothing better to believe in.
A large audience of alienated young white men in particular, and a rather sad relationship with the female sex.
Says the guy, have you ever had sex?
No, absolutely not.
Wow. Says the guy who's never got laid.
It's been trotted out so many times that it's got boring.
Piers Morgan, to me, is literally just a man who interviews serial killers. The thing is, when you understand that these men hate, this is a completely different economy of sexual dynamic. Men today, this group of men that we're talking about, I'm not saying all men, even though, you know, I would love to say all men, and I would have no problem saying all men. I love saying all men. I'm more than happy to shit on men. But in this case, I am going to specify the specific group of men who subscribe to Fuentes and subscribe to, like, even the MAGA ideology more generally. They don't like women. So not having sex with them is like you're appealing to a masculinity that doesn't exist in this movement. They care about the approval of other men. So why would it matter if they haven't slept with a woman? Why would that matter? The only reason you sleep with another woman is to impress other men. And women suck so bad that sleeping with them wouldn't even impress other men at this stage. The most impressive thing you can do is hate women so much that even their sexual appeal has no power over you, right? A woman is only good as a house slave, and he hasn't found one that is appealing enough yet to be a house slave. And so it's Piers coming from this previous world where bagging a hottie meant a whole lot. It's like, what? You haven't had sex? And he's like, no, and I don't care to. Because the homoromantic culture of the patriarchy, where men seek the other approval of men, they seek the admiration of men, they seek the affection of men, they seek everything they want, the respect they want, all of that is to do with men, right? That has grown so much that even the heterosexuality is cancelled out. It means nothing. So everyone who's like, oh, what a loser, he's a virgin. No. It doesn't make him a loser, right? Eventually, he will have a woman live in his house, and even she will not have sexual power over him. She will be there to give him children so that his, I don't know how men talk about that. His seed, his progeny, right? He'll be able to procreate and she'll clean his house. But that is the extent to her use to him, right? It will never be that she's some hot baddie that he don't care about that. But so many of these men are closeted homosexuals. In my opinion, 60 to 70% of men are closeted homosexuals, right? I'm not reading into it because there are a lot of, in Piers' group as well, there are a lot of closeted homosexuals who still feign sexual interest in women, right? Because back then, that was the cultural currency. Your masculinity was defined by how many young, hot women you could get. That is no longer the cultural currency. There are just as many closeted homosexuals who had power in Piers's world as there are in Fuentes's world, but the way that kind of power is signified is completely different. The Piers wife drama is actually so funny. But even like if Fuentes is gay, I really don't think people would care. If he was looking at gay porn, it's like he could literally be like, yeah, I watch gay porn, but I'm not gay. And people would believe him. Because the understanding of what sexuality is to these people is completely different. It wouldn't matter if it's like almost Roman in that, like, it doesn't matter if you bang men so long as you still have a woman who has your babies and keeps your house. I don't know. I think people overestimate how much sexual prowess matters to these people at all anymore. Like, look at, I know I'm obsessed. You need to tell me. Look at someone like Clavicula, right? His looks maxing is for other men. It has nothing to do with women, right? Like, he'll bang women and he'll try and get women to bed, but he doesn't really care about women. It's not about the sexual satisfaction he gets from those interactions whatsoever. Like, it has nothing to do with that at all. It has to do with, like, his looks maxing is for other men. He sells to other men. His audience is other men. He's not hot for girls, right? It's very interesting. This form of misogynistic gay culture that is the highest point of masculinity today.
And if you're at all interested in what words mean, in what symbols mean. That's what I'm interested
Hang on,
in.
sorry.
Then you need a little
This
bit
mouse!
of a better.
It can be about himself because he wants social status, right? But if it's about himself, what is it that he's looking for himself? He's looking for approval, right? Whose approval? The approval of other men. Everyone looks at themselves, right? Even if you're doing something for yourself, you're looking at yourself in terms of like how you're viewed by others. To approve of oneself is to assume there's some imaginary out there that's also approving of you. And I'm telling you, Clavicula's imaginary is men. It's not women. He's not like, yeah, finally I'm a sex symbol for women. That's not it. His own approval is what though? Like that's what I'm trying to say. No one's approval exists as an island that is untouched by societal kind of precursors. Yeah, Ethel, because gay culture can't exist in terms of like it needs to still have the very heterosexual kind of structure so that we continue to procreate. That procreation is very important, but the sexuality needs to be like a hidden but understood thing. Don't get married. Yeah, it is very John Berger. Don't marry a man. Just fuck men and have your little house slave at home. Why did he dislike his approval since he was 14? This is the thing, right? My niece is coming down to celebrate New Year's. And I get very nervous around my niece at the moment because she is at that age, in like the high school age, where I received a lot of heat. Not even heat. I never had issues in school, but the approval of girls at that age that she's currently at meant a lot to me. And so now suddenly I'm nervous that my niece is coming down because I'm like, she's gonna say something mean to me. And it's like, why do I care what a 13, 14-year-old thinks? Like, why would I ever, like, I'm a grown woman. Why would I ever give a crap about a 14-year-old's opinion? But it's like, that was a time when the opinion of other women meant the world to me. The approval of other women meant everything to me. So being around a 13-year-old is like a very dangerous thing because that's the approval that I sought the most at that age when I was the most insecure. And so the same, I assume, is true for Clavicula, that at the age where he was feeling insecure, it was because of he said, I wasn't invited to parties, I wasn't invited out, I wasn't in the cool group, right? His in-group desire is what he requires to approve of himself. Guys, we're never going to get through this.
Better context for understanding an ascendant. Some are saying meteoric. They're saying meteoric media property like Nick Fuentes. And he's spreading.
He's become a behemoth, sadly. He's got 5 million viewers on Rumble. He's got 1 million followers on X.
I agree.
Groyperism is self-replicating.
Bacteria reproduce very simply and rapidly by doubling their contents and splitting in two.
Millions of groypers. Groypers in the house next door in the basement. Groypers in Congress. Groypers in the Oval Office.
30 to 40% of younger Republicans working in politics in D.C. like Nick Fuentes.
Now, the tastemakers, they've tried to get rid of him several ways.
If you want to put a bumper up on Nick Fuentes, is it helpful to say, you're fucking vile, you're an anti-Semite?
Yes.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it
that
is.
doesn't put a...
Yes, it
no,
is.
Tried to get rid of him.
We're going to get an affluent, blonde, white woman to concern troll about a video game.
They've tried calling him names.
Nick Fuentes, this child, this weird little gay kid in his basement. The white nationalist and anti-Semitic online stuff.
None of this matters. It all falls off him.
All of the ists and the isms, that's what this guy is.
They've tried having him on their shows so millions of people see.
This attitude is why you're losing. When you say
Who am I
poor
losing
old
to?
white people,
Who
these
am I
poor
losing
Your
old
wife's
white
piss.
people. Oh, you're losing to me.
I wrote something in the notes. I wrote contagion. I wrote the word contagion, but that reading it back, it feels wrong. There is something spreading, something Nick-based, something Groyper-based that's spreading, but it can't just be the words, right? Because the words, I mean, we've heard them We've heard those words in the same order many times before, but it's something. There's something to the image of Nick.
Leo Strauss is dead, and I'm smarter than him.
They call it humor. They call it charisma.
Real masculinity is when you respect your wife as your peer.
Guys, Plastic Pills and I spoke before I watched this video. I'm Australian. I said it was humor. I said it was charisma. Now he's saying it. We should obviously collab.
And you're equal. And she goes, that's the man I married. Want a treat?
It's a variable that's not named. There's something to the code of Nick that is self-replicating.
You're saying I'm a Nazi. I'm a monster. There's a million monsters then. There's a million Nazis out there then. Because they love my show and they agree with me way more than they agree with you, and they're pissed off.
You see it, right? Like even his detractors have to admit, you got the stuff, the juice, the it factor, the X factor. It's this unnamed variable.
It is
and
named.
There's names for the unnamed variable.
Wait, yes. He's going to say the names. But the name I would like to use is, unfortunately, Nick has a source. Now, Clavicular doesn't have the source, but he has the look, which is why Clavicular and Nick are now collabing, because together,
you say charisma or charm,
source,
or,
say it.
I don't know, aptitude, but
No.
these all they don't go any further in explaining the unnamed variable. So I'm gonna call it.
It's Griffic. We are watching a symbolic takedown of Nick Fuentes, right? Are we not allowed to watch information about Nick Fuentes? You can log off. Thank you for cheering. You don't have to watch. I'm not platforming Nick Fuentes. If I react to Donald Trump, am I platforming Donald Trump? If I watch Carolyn Levitt press conference, am I platforming Carolyn Levitt? That's crazy. That doesn't work. Like, I don't think anyone who's watching me is at risk of becoming a Fuentes fan. Because I think Fuentes is an absolute fucking loser. Okay? So if you would like to not watch, you cannot watch. We're gonna watch. We're going to watch this psychoanalytic takedown of Nick Fuentes. Okay? I find platforming discourse very annoying. Go and bother someone else. I can't help it. I get one guide, okay? Yeah, I'm live on Twitch. Sorry, I need to work out how to put chat. How is this counterproductive? You know what's counterproductive? Ignoring him and letting him become like a super strong, significant influence on the right wing. JD Vance, the vice president who is going to run for president, is inviting this man over for dinner, and you don't want to try and find out like what his hold is on people? That's so strange. That's so strange. Damn, it's so easy to one guy me because I almost actually don't want to watch this now because I'm so annoyed. I actually almost want to log off. Why am I so easy to one guy? Why is this so easy? I don't understand Trump voters. Okay, yeah, so the best way to understand them is to just fucking ignore them. Great idea. How do you convince Trump voters to not vote for Trump if you don't understand anything about them or the people that they're listening to or the people who influence them? If you don't understand what they're hearing, how do you work out how to counter what they're hearing? Because you don't even know what they're fucking hearing. Okay, it's all fine. I'm totally fine. I'm totally not being one guy. I'm totally in control of myself and my own emotions and my own chat because it's my own stream and I'm totally in control. I'm totally, and I'm also not watching Nick Fuentes. I'm watching Plastic Pills, you dumb fuck.
I'm gonna call it the blue stuff from our video games. It's mana.
I don't play video
Mana
games.
comes
I'm a
from the
girl.
belief system of these Polynesian islanders. They're studied by French
Okay.
sociologists.
You got me
Mana is
back.
like it's a spiritual energy. It's kind of everywhere, but it gathers in certain places. It collects in certain people. Certain
get our
people have
mana.
more control over it than others. It's like
Guys.
a spirit.
That chatter just made me lose all my mana. God fucking damn. Guys, I gotta re-get my mana.
Actual vital force, and people got it. People can channel it. Leaders can channel it. And this may not be a fully adequate explanation, but I think both Nick's popularity and his mythos, they rely on an unnamed element like this, a floating signifier like mana. So you gotta admit that he's got it, whatever that unnameable it is.
Sauce.
Charm, charisma, presence, all words that don't really refer to anything. But if you believe he's dangerous, as many do, then calling him a Nazi just absolutely doesn't have any value. The reason to call him a Nazi is just because that's the most dangerous signifier we have.
Who is Nick Fuentes? Nick Fuentes, I would say, is the...
You say Nazi, I say man. That's the most dangerous signifier I can think of. He's a man.
The most popular representative of neo-Nazism in America.
Nick's point here is that that word has been worn out.
Maybe that just doesn't even mean anything at all. Forget even that. Millions of people don't give a shit anymore. You can call us a Nazi. We don't care about Nazis. We don't care about the Holocaust. We don't care about Hitler. We don't care about any of that.
Okay,
If
speak
he's
for yourself,
dangerous,
Nick.
Just say the thing that he said. That's dangerous. That's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to do my best not to call him anything, not call him Nazi, not call him anti-Semite. If they don't have the power that they used to, then they're still papering over distinctions that might be relevant here. I think calling him a Nazi, it short circuits actual analysis.
If I'm a Nazi, then there's millions of young people that are following a fucking Nazi. So you better be careful about those words.
Yeah, that's
By
why
the end, I hope
we're
you can
nervous.
see in black and white the cosmos that he's constructed, the symbolic universe of the Groypers, because it's actually rather complex. It's more complex at least than you would think. And that's what his detractors, they don't really give him credit for.
This weird little
Wait,
gay kid in
wait.
his basement.
I should.
If I'm
Okay.
a Nazi, then
It came back. God damn it.
It's more complex at least than you would think.
Okay. So these are... Wait. Is he for or against these things? Okay, I'm sure he'll talk about it.
And that's what his detractors, they don't really give him credit for.
This weird little gay kid in his basement.
I should note that it is insane. If you're in the cult, it makes sense. But looking in from outside, it is rather preposterous. But to be fair, that's how cults always look from the outside. Now, with the elaborate cosmography of Nick Fuentes, there's a secret to his code. And I want to get to the secret first because it'll anticipate what's coming. His secret phrase, where the secret is buried, is in the phrase, Christ is King.
All I said was Christ is King. Okay. This was like, it's anti-Semitic, it's layered, it's this, it's that. And there were people who I would have been like, I've always been friendly with, who were making videos legitimatizing that. Like, she didn't say it directly to
Legitimatizing,
anybody,
Candace?
but it could have been kind of implied. And this is why you shouldn't say Christ is King. And we're looking around going, what is going on right now? What is happening? And I think at that moment...
Is it like a secret anti-Semitic dog whistle? Because I'm confused, right? Because obviously there's Christian Zionism as well. But I just want to... yeah.
Craziest controversies I've ever seen.
Controversy.
So there were people on the so-called right who attacked you for saying Christ is King?
Of course there were.
Now, first time I heard Christ is King, I thought I knew what it meant. And I realized I didn't, and I still kind of don't know what it means. But I understand what it doesn't mean. So
Yeah, I don't think it's just Christianity. I don't think it's just affirming Christian belief. I think it's legitimatizing. Yes, that's how we talk about things here. I feel like it's a anti-Jewish slogan. It's a way of like secretly being anti-Jewish. But that's my instinct.
Understanding that you don't understand Christ is King, this really is the key to the Nick Fuentes reality spinoff.
Christ is King, America first, and free speech.
Christ is King is a mythic claim. But to understand that you don't understand what Christ is King means, here's a hint. You just have to forget everything that you think you know about Jesus Christ as like what he is in the rest of Christianity or what he is as a historical person. You know, for some, Christ is considered like a teacher or a political revolutionary or the symbol of selflessness and self-sacrifice. But Christ as the Groyper figure, it doesn't have anything to do with those really. In Groyper Christology, on one hand, he's like the figure of an ascendant warlord of America who rules over the skulls of his enemies. But on the other hand, he's also like this ancestral force that personifies the eventual destiny of the white race. So if that doesn't sound appealing to you,
I'm interested, but it's so confusing to me. When Christ is Semitic, but how is he like? Is it like that kind of Mormon thinking? I hate this mouse.
you're in for one. Now, there's not a lot of Christian precedents for this sort of Christ the King force. Like in Revelation, right? Jesus, or Christ, does show up in Revelation as a rider on a white horse. Now, they seem to interpret the rider on a white horse as a white rider on a horse. Now, if we are going to have a precedent for the Christ the King of the Groypers, I think the best example I can think of is Santiago Matamoros. Santiago Matamoros was from the 9th century. Santiago means Saint James. So James is the brother of Christ, Jesus, according to everyone except the Catholics. And he died in 44 AD. Now, Santiago Matamoros magically reappeared 8 centuries later on a white horse with a white banner to help the Christians kill all the Muslims in Spain, the Moors.
Okay.
So Santiago Matamoros means Saint James the Moor Slayer. This is not Christ, by the way. Again, this is his brother. So Christ the King in America is, I think, a new theological development, as far as I know. And you can be a nerd, and you can ask these annoying questions like, how could it be James, the brother of Jesus, if he had been dead for 800 years? Or you can ask other nerd questions like, how did he kill 5,000 Muslims at the Battle of Clavijo when...
Guys, I would never ask nerd questions like that because I'm pure of spirit and I'm a true believer and I am gullible. And if you want me to believe that James, who's killing everyone, is the brother of Christ, and then I'm going to believe it.
And the Battle of Clavijo never actually happened. And see, there you go. Like this nerd shit, true and false, has no bearing
Just believe
on the myth.
Thank you.
And contradictions, they don't matter. That's nerd shit. Christ the King.
Never.
Now, whatever the
Could never
Bible
be
says
me.
about Jesus Christ, mostly you should just forget about that.
Okay.
My bad. Because sola scriptura is a heretical Protestant doctrine. And we're all good Catholics here. And
Obviously.
B, the Bible was written by Jews, which is for Nick a reason to not trust it.
This is a Christian nation. Jesus Christ is our king, and our laws and our government should be inspired by Christ. Not just the Bible, not just the Old Testament. No.
Christ, however, you might be confused here, but Christ is not a Jew for reasons that will be explained. Don't overthink it. Now, this is common in religion. If you want to hear the word of Christ,
the people that built this country, fought for this country, died for this country, the saints and the apostles, for the Greeks and the Romans, for the conquerors, the colonists, the Europeans. I stood with them.
Our ancestors, white people, are Europeans. Or
Okay.
certain Europeans. The Greeks are included. The Romans are included. These are the ancestors of white America. The British Empire, too, is included. Now, white America has fallen on some hard times.
White children will wake up in their beds and they will be subjected to land reappropriation like they're doing in South Africa right now.
And you know what hard times means? Watch my video. Hard times means the masses are primed to receive new prophets. It's not that prophets only show up in hard times. It's that people only listen to them in hard times because they're tired of the hard times.
The simplest, most fundamental form of the idea behind all of it is this.
I know how we defeat Nick
Everything
Fuentes.
is going to
We just need to create a software program that whenever you watch him, this scary fucking music plays over the top. I think if we just add the scary music, his charisma is kind of like transformed into something a little scarier. Because right now I'm like, why is he yelling at me? Whereas normally I'd be like, okay, he's making a point. Whereas now I'm like, I'm a little scared. Right? Listen.
Shit.
They're tired of losing. So it's at that point that new messages are possible, and iconoclasm, the prophets who come to sweep away the old and usher in the new, that works. The promised land is promised again. And Nick shows how America, and not existing America, but true America, prime America, how that is going to be accomplished. I'm going to do my best here. I can't promise. I'm going to do my best to really just not call him anything. And I think the most effective way to communicate this would be to lay it out visually and let you see
He doesn't like women.
how Nick constructs a reality from speech. And therewith, you'll see what his true plan for the future is if he had his way.
We are thoroughly in the Groyper War. The civil war for the GOP. Everybody knows it. Everybody can feel it. And this has been coming to a head for a very long time. It started last year. I said I'm not going to vote for Trump. Why? Because Trump is no longer putting America first.
Okay.
He took $100 million from Miriam Adelson.
Jew.
He got endorsed by Nikki Haley when she was in Israel. That's a bad sign. Trump said that he would bomb Iran, which of course he then did. He said he would staple the green cards of millions of Indians to their college diplomas and let them live here forever, among other things. So last year I said, I'm not going to vote for Trump. I didn't vote for Kamala. I didn't tell anybody to do that. But I said, I can't in good conscience vote for Trump. He's not putting America first. And I was excoriated for this. People said I was a Democrat. I was a subverter. I happened to be right. Donald Trump appointed as his national security advisor Mike Waltz. Mike Waltz was then fired 3 months later because he was literally on the phone with Netanyahu every day, working for him, trying to push America into a war with Iran. I'm not making that up. Google it. One of the top national security posts, National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, was fired because he was working for Netanyahu inside our government.
Just for a short interruption here. See, Nick's like most ideologues. He begins with common sense, and you're sort of...
Aesthetically, I don't like the text on the screen, even though I'm following. But he is about to make a point, which is the point that I always make with Candace as well, which is like, they'll say something you agree with. It's like being at a party, being a little drunk. Someone comes over to talk to you, and you're like, yeah. And you're agreeing, and you're into it, and you're like, yep. And then at some point, they say something like totally left of field, and you're like, how do I unagree? I totally thought you were going a different direction. You zigged when I zagged. Like, How do I unagree? And that's what Candace does. That's what Nick does. They'll say something in the clip that is fair enough. And then the conclusion is never something you want to agree with. You're like, whoa, 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 whoa. Hate my mouse.
Looped into the more the extreme or the norm deviant takes as you go deeper. But the first half of a rant like this is basically just true stuff that really happened, and it's crazy. He has common sense positions like billionaires shouldn't be able to buy news or media platforms with the express purpose of silencing criticism of Israel while Israel's genociding. That stuff's a normal, sensible position held
That's what
by,
I
I
mean.
think, a majority of Americans at this point. And so normal, sensible opinions are a good way to start. But these are the first links in the signifying chain every time. It's Jewish plus the billionaires plus Israel. Not all Jews, at least not yet. It's Jewish billion.
Sorry, I hate my mouth. I just wanted to say as well, this is like an example of Candace doing this with Brigitte Macron is Brigitte Macron did groom Emmanuel Macron, right? She was his teacher when he was 14, and he did swap schools so that they could be in a relationship. That's common sense to be like, that's fucked up and weird, and that should be criticized. But then to be like, Brigitte Macron is also a man who also happens to be Emmanuel Macron's father. Now we're jumping to a universe where that shouldn't be the case, right? Like, and yeah, I want to hear about the Jewish billionaire thing because we've spoken about this before in terms of like the difference between conspiracy and like, yeah, there aren't that many billionaires. They're all going to know one another. And Jewish people are probably also going to know one another. Knowing one another isn't a crime. And it only becomes a crime when you imagine the world is constructed in the way that most Republicans want you to believe, which is that everyone gets to their position by merit, right? Nobody gets to their position by merit. People get to their position by networks. And so if it's true that people get to their position by networks, then yes, billionaire classes and people in the same sort of cultural and social group, they're going to know one another. That's not a conspiracy. That is just the very nature of reality.
Billionaires who are loyal to Israel. And it's hard, it's impossible to argue with this. But it would be a mistake to think that just because we're starting here that Nick really thinks that the Jewish billionaires are the real problem in the world.
Just give me 1 second, guys. I think my dog's doing something naughty. Where are you? Where are you? Where's your brother? Ringo! Ringo! Where are you? I'm sorry. My dog was going through a bag of rubbish.
So to find out what the real problems are, you have to find where this chain ends. And it doesn't end in anti-Semitism. It ends quite a bit worse than that, actually.
As soon as Trump was elected, he started a war in Yemen, bombing the Houthis. He gave Israel $12 billion in foreign aid while he's taking health care, taking away Medicaid. Then bombed Iran.
He
Got
loves
us
that.
involved in Israel's war with Iran, which surely we have not seen the end of just yet. He buried the Jeffrey Epstein Files and for months engaged in a deliberate cover-up with lies and cover stories and deception that goes on until this day. His DOJ let an Israeli official who was trying to molest an underage girl, escape from Las Vegas, Nevada, and take refuge in Israel. This is our Trump administration.
So now this is where we have begun. You see it. This is the creation of a primary division, a hinge. And then he filters different phenomena into this division. And there's nothing wrong with this, of course. This is standard
Okay, I just wanted to test this face.
practice for myth making. All human societies that have ever existed practice the maintenance of divisions. You could almost say that society is the maintenance of certain divisions. God's first act, Bible, is separating light from dark, calling
We don't trust the Bible, though. Remember who it's written by.
it day and night, then separating land from sea and calling it their names. So we always have sacred over here, profane over there, priests here, people there, men here, woman here, clean stuff.
Yes, because when we define things, when we understand things, it's through opposition, through the other, right? Categories are based on like, where do they end?
Goes here, dirty stuff goes over there. Citizens go over here, criminals go over there, adults over here, children over there. It's always divisions. Myth gives the justification for divisions. And divisions, too, they simplify very complicated worlds. You have day and night, just as you have good and bad. Myths tell you to keep doing these things and to avoid and stop doing these things. Now, early on, Nick doesn't really say anything about what being pro-America is. This is a standard and good rhetorical strategy. He just says what America, true America, isn't. And these are things that people are already upset about. War, Israel, supporting Israel, immigrants,
but what's
dysfunctional
he
healthcare.
hiding?
These are the crimes of the Republican Party in general, but Trump 47 in particular. And this is how Nick starts with true events, or mostly true events, that did happen but sound insane. And these are the building blocks of his narrative, including that an Israeli government pedophile escaped to Israel after being arrested and released on bail for
happens.
seducing a minor in the USA.
I
And he was
mean,
arrested in a district in Nevada.
ICE is deporting citizens. What, you expect them to get everything right? It's too high a bar.
Overseen by another Israeli citizen who's a U.S. attorney. So all this did happen. It is insane. And it's the kind of story that Nick loves.
It's crazy though, because it's like the least insane thing that like Trump bombs Nigeria on Christmas Day to give them a Christmas present and then bombs the wrong town. Like,
Loves for
everything is stupid. Everything is stupid. So I mean, it's like, it's not even like there's no secret. Like, I think a lot of us like digging for meaning, being like, there must be some sort of strategy. There must be some thought that's like, that I just, like me, I'm always like, oh, I'm missing something. I got to be able to work it out. I got to be able to work it out. And you get to a point where you're like, there's nothing to work out. It's just stupid. But the problem with things, sorry, shut up, Joe. The problem with things being just stupid is that when you are then able to find ways to make it look intelligent, right? Which is something Nick does. He takes all these stupid things that have no correlation and he pulls them together in a narrative that makes sense on its face, even if it's not the real narrative. And then people will be like, okay, that makes sense. That's an explanation. And people want an explanation over nothing, right? They would prefer there be some explanation than rather just be like, oh, everything is stupid and incompetent and we voted for it. Let me just check how many people in Nigeria died. I truly can't believe that this occurred. But yes, they bombed the wrong town that has absolutely nothing to do with ISIS. The reason for bombing the town was to bomb ISIS. Obviously, terrorism in the Sahel. So the Sahel, if you think of the Sahara, and then you think of like the Ivory Coast, the Sahel is like the bottom stretch of the Sahara, and Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Boko Haram, all very active there. Ordered the strike as a Christmas present. Christians are being targeted there, but no asylum for the Christians in Nigeria, of course. Only asylum for those South Africans, right? One day ago, no history. Locals say absolutely no history of ISIS. I should be doing this on the computer so you can read along, but I'm not. Jabo. Maybe no one died. A lot of stuff didn't explode. Just dropped and didn't explode, so we'll see.
Reasons that will become clear. As we let him cook, I do want to draw attention to how long it takes for Nick.
When Nick Fuentes cooks, it's like when I was 12 and I had a friend over for a sleepover and we were like, let's make pancakes, but let's put creaming soda in them. And we're like, yeah, that will fucking rock. Yes. Guess what? Disgusting.
To fill in the middle column, to define what his position is. Because for a long time, this column just sits empty.
Yes, Kevin.
While the first column gets so full that I have to remove what's in there to make room for more. So Nick benefits from the fact that you, the interpreter, you fill in the middle column with your mind. You fill in the blanks because he's telling you everything bad. So basically, his America is the opposite of bad things. And now, who doesn't want that? Good America is things we like. Bad America is all the things that we don't like. Yeah, it's a good strategy, but it's a rudimentary strategy. You don't need a Nick Fuentes.
Steven.
You don't need a controversial outsider when everything is going well. So instead of coming out with what America first means, he just says America first is the opposite of bad things. Now Trump here is on the list, but this is Trump 47 to be clear. Trump 45, Nick liked
very different. Yeah.
Trump 45.
In my MAGA Magic video where I talk about like the magical thinking of MAGA, a big focus is the philosophical difference between Trump 45 and Trump 47. Because Trump 45 was very much like 4chan frogging, Groyper, Nick Fuentes, whereas 47 is much more Bronze Age pervert, Strauss, like a much more like dark kind of Evola. Bye, perp. It's a very different vibe.
And Trump
Thanks,
45
Kevin.
said exactly the same thing. He said, America is bad, so vote for me and it will be good. It didn't work out that way, but that's what he said. So you can add good and bad as master signifiers here, but it's implied. Everything on the left is bad and everything on the right is good. Now, hopefully, sooner than later, we can also learn why his America is preferable here.
And throughout this year, people like myself and Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens and others have become incredibly vocal about this betrayal. This is not the America first that we signed up for. War with Iran, covering up Jeffrey Epstein, taking money from Miriam Adelson, Netanyahu's top officials working inside our government. Is this the Bush administration or is this the Trump administration? It's a valid question. And so as the year dragged on, these divisions and tensions came to the fore. Tucker Carlson became increasingly vocal against the war in Iran. I achieved a generational run, in part.
Yeah, that's smart, Formica.
Because of my vocal criticism and my correct prediction that we would enter a war with Iran. And we have been met with nothing other than attacks, slander, cancel culture from the Israel first wing of the Republic.
There's also like kind of an explanatory force where there are people who may not understand why they disagree with something, right? Like there are people who might be like, I don't want to bomb Iran. That's bad. And they can't necessarily understand why it's bad. So like Nick giving them the reason is something they find useful, even if it's the incorrect reason, even if it's not the right reason, because he says it confidently. People are like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. I don't want to bomb Iran because America first, obviously. Like, why are we bombing Iran? Because America first. So you don't necessarily have the reasoning to be like, I don't want to bomb Iran because I believe in the supremacy of international law to resolve conflicts, and I don't necessarily see how this helps resolve things in the Middle East. And I think that I would prefer us to pursue the nuclear agreement that we were already working on. I don't think that countries should take unilateral action like this. So there's a whole lot of reasons that are true for why you shouldn't want to bomb Iran. But instead it's like, yeah, because of the evil Israel first agenda that's overtaking the country, and the evil America that's controlled.
All of them Jewish, most of them, I should say. Mark Levin, Ben Shapiro, Andrew Klavan, Dave Rubin, Seth Dillon, Joel Berry. They started.
I know one of those guys.
Started calling us woke right or woke Reich, like the Nazis. They said we're anti-Semites. They said we work for Qatar.
Well, that is what that's why conspiracy latches on, right? People don't want to believe that there's no explanation for their suffering or for why things are bad. So it's like, I need an explanation, and it can't be something that I have no, that there's no control. Like, if I can find an explanation that is easy to understand, not complicated, compartmentalizable. I'm speaking Candace now. I'm just making up words. He's the one that got the boob job, right? Dave Rubin? I don't know him well. I don't know these people well. I only know my girl. But like, if I want to understand my suffering, I don't want to be responsible. I don't want it to be systemic because I can't do anything about that. I don't want it to be complicated. I want it to be one person or a few people that I can blame, or a country. Much easier. Yeah, I have. I haven't watched it in a while, though. I don't know if I got through the whole thing. I need to go back and revisit.
We work for the Islamists. They said this because we want to put America first. Why? We want no more foreign aid. We want the genocide to stop. We don't want to enter a regime change war with Iran. We don't want to give Israel $12 billion. We want to get to the bottom of the Epstein Files. For this, we were called Qatari spies, Muslim Islamists, woke right, anti-Semitic, Jew haters. This is how it started.
You do hate Jews, though, Nick. Admit it.
And over the summer, it became undeniable that I was rapidly ascending and becoming one of the biggest names in conservative politics, right there with Tucker and Candace Owens.
So America First here stands for mostly negative things. Negative, just not that they're bad, just that they're the inverse of the first position. They're the antitheses. And he picks only the popular issues, like against war with Iran, opposed to genocide, release the Epstein Files, stop sending money to Israel when they're doing a genocide, and stop letting pedophiles go free. So what's interesting is that
it's always a winner to be anti-pedophile. That one rocks.
There is nothing conservative yet. Nick's going for a big tent. He's saving the conservative stuff for later. Like, so far, he has only taken the popular stances.
Yeah, very weird for, like, why don't we have healthcare to be the new leader of the conservative talking point people, that to be the one kind of positive thing he's got going in that list.
On all of these policies that are no different from like a Mamdani campaign. But we do have this third function over here. Nick saves this space for things that are, to him and perhaps his audience, so ridiculous that others on the right call him, but he says them sarcastically to distance himself from them. This is a strategy of containment, another rhetorical strategy, and he uses the signifiers of his enemies, but then just puts them in the nondescript third space where ridiculous things go. This is not throwaway, though. We should remember this because it's gonna come back later.
Summer, he graciously reached out to me. We squashed the beef. We met face to face and we talked about our differences. No, we did not ask Mark Levin for permission first. No, we did not ask Ben Shapiro for permission to speak.
Why not?
We did not ask the Sanhedrin or the Zionist Organization of America or the ADL. Permission to...
What is the Sanhedrin?
Speak, sir? Can two Americans talk about our country? Can two Americans share?
This is what I mean. This is, and I told you guys when we've talked about when I was talking about the Bondi attacks, right? When the Zionist move, like in the early Zionist conferences, a big concern of liberal Jews was that if Israel was established, that Jewish people would always be seen as the other in every country they lived in. Now, of course, I think that's true regardless of whether or not Israel exists. But there's this idea that they're Israeli. All Jews are automatically Israeli and therefore they're not American. So when he's saying something like, can two Americans speak? It's as if Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro are not Americans. Hang on, my dogs are being naughty again. You just have to give me a second. Where's your brother? Okay. Well, I mean, Destiny, it doesn't really matter if he believes in dual citizenship or not, right? Why does he automatically decide that they're Israelis and not Americans, right? Like I don't know where Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro were born. I'm assuming, let me have a look, that they were born in America. And even if they are citizens of Israel, they are, let's see, born in Burbank, California, right? Mark Levin. Born in Philadelphia, okay? So it's like, the concern for me is like, can two Americans talk without asking an Israeli? It's like, these are Americans. He doesn't view Jews as Americans because he doesn't view them as white. He's Mexican. Guys, it's fine. I don't care that he's Mexican because I'm not a white supremacist. And it's weird for me to even bring that up. It just annoys me. The hypocrisy annoys me.
Shake hands and talk about America for a change? We didn't ask for permission.
You're such a badass,
and it was
Nick.
this radical act, this courageous act by Tucker Carlson.
Is that Ghost in the background moving, or am I losing my mind?
To just speak with me. He didn't agree with everything I said. We didn't agree on a lot, and it was a little contentious at times. But his decision to simply humanize me, to treat me like a human being, to acknowledge my existence, to say my name, to shake my hand, and to simply talk about our ideas and where we agree and where we disagree. For this, they want his head.
We're still waiting for what America First actually is, you have to be roped into a few circuits of communication, so you're nodding along by the time that he presents what America First is. But in the meantime, here we're
It doesn't
getting
matter what
clues.
America First is. It just matters. It's the negative case. Doesn't anyone have a positive project anymore?
Like the Sanhedrin. Now,
See, he knew I wouldn't know.
credit where it's due. I'm sorry, but the Sanhedrin, this is a very cleverly crafted analogy here. So if you don't know, the Sanhedrin was the
How did he know that I didn't know? What a legend.
Jewish ruling authority back when they had a temple, back in the Roman Empire before the Romans destroyed it. And the Sanhedrin were the guys that condemned Jesus for blasphemy and ultimately asked the Romans to kill him. So by analogy, the analogy that Nick's constructing here is that the Jewish media people and these organizations, they are the figurative descendants of the
killers of Jesus,
the Sanhedrin, who are now persecuting Tucker and Nick, who are the figurative descendants of Christ. and the Sanhedrin is now calling Christ blasphemy once again. So this is a tight little analogy here, but this is the first positive position.
I don't think Jesus would be into that. For real, for real. I don't think Jesus claims you guys. No offense.
Offered in the America First category, which is America where Christians can intercourse without being interfered with by the Jews who control everything. Christians are controlled by Jews as it stands. Look, we're going to get to it, and I think you'll see it's worthwhile why we're being tedious with a construction like this.
After the interview, a noted Israel First propagandist, Josh Hammer, called for Tucker to be killed. And he did it.
I mean, haven't we all, at some point, called for such things?
In the front page of the Daily Mail, he said Tucker Carlson should be neutralized. Nick Fuentes should be neutralized. Is that really the
Yeah, with scary music played over the top of your fucking segments, dude? We're all talking about it.
right choice of words? In this climate, Donald Trump got shot, Charlie Kirk got shot, and you go on Daily Mail and say Tucker and Nick need to be put down like animals? And now you have psycho people on the internet that are talking about killing me and Tucker. They know what they're doing. That's like stochastic terrorism. They're stoking the flames of hatred and violence against me and Tucker. There are extremists out there that want me and Tucker dead. And what do you think? What do you think they're thinking when you hear this?
I'm so sick of people on the internet whinging. Shut up. Seriously, shut up. You don't want people, just shut up. Just stop.
Hysteria from Mark Levin and Josh Hammer. They want some psycho to come and kill us. That's what they're doing.
You know who else gets this shit all the time? Probably Ariana Grande. I don't see her bitching about it. Hey, Avocado. It's like, oh, people want me dead. Yeah, people want Taylor Swift dead. You know what she does? She fucking sings and dances. She's got a much bigger reason to complain than you. And you know what? She doesn't, because she's not a pussy little bitch. Holy fucking shit, the way these men can whinge. Like, really, it is men and women dominated fields every day. They've got body dysmorphia. All they want to do is complain about their fucking life. Like, seriously, shut up.
Levin and Josh Hammer know exactly what they're doing. They want some crazy person to go and murder us. That is what they're doing. They know they're doing that. There's no excuse anymore.
Oh, you don't like people violently stalking you? That's the concern of women. Shut up, you whingy little bitch.
Charlie Kirk got shot in the neck because of exactly that kind of thinking. At least that's, to the best of our knowledge, the official story.
See, again, this is clever. Because the claim to violence is prefaced by the Sanhedrin signifier, we are meant or at least careful listeners, are meant to see the parallel that the Jews are, albeit indirectly, responsible for the death of Christians. Because the Sanhedrin did not kill Christ, the Romans did. But the Sanhedrin, they're very tricky because they're Jews.
So who are the Romans? The trans? I'm trying to follow the analogy. The woke? I don't know.
So the Jews are ultimately responsible for the death of Christ. If you think about this too hard, then you might recall that Christ was a Jew, but
handsome.
Nick has a clever workaround for that fact. It's coming up.
But the week dragged on, and there seemed to be some evidence.
The Romans are the French. Sorry, I forgot the Candace bit. I forgot the Candace bit with the French. It's the French.
Evidence that the Heritage Foundation, one of the most prestigious and important conservative think tanks in America, historically, earlier this week, it appeared that they were distancing themselves from Tucker Carlson. They removed his name from their website. And everybody said, it seems that Tucker is now being canceled. The Israel First Wing is successfully canceling Tucker because Heritage is pulling the rug out from under him. Well, the president of the Heritage Foundation came out today with the video statement and forcefully denied that allegation. He came out and said, of course, we are not abandoning Tucker Carlson. We like Tucker. We support Tucker. He said, and we're not going to give in to the venomous people that are trying to get him canceled. They said, we are Christ first, we are America first, and we love free speech. They said, we are allowed to criticize Israel.
But you're not allowed to criticize Tucker Carlson or Charlie Kirk, just to be clear. Sorry, I just got to remember to learn, because free speech doesn't mean the same thing, right? It's like, okay.
We are not obligated to reflexively support Israel. He said, and although he doesn't agree with my...
No, Slick, Christ is American, keep up.
It's
like Mormonism.
Nick Fuentes.
He
said, we do not engage in cancel culture, we debate our differences. This is an extremely courageous statement. You guys don't understand the pressure these people are under. This guy stood on business, and he said what we're all thinking.
For real type shit.
Those are three principles that everybody can get behind.
Wicked witch. Wicked, wicked, wicked witch. Madam Horrible. Flip it around.
What is wrong with any one of them? He said, Christ is king, America first, and free speech.
Wicked
Amen
witch.
to that.
Wicked witch.
And I know a lot of people don't love everything that I say, and they don't want to defend everything I've ever said. But those are three things that I absolutely support, and I think we all support.
Now here we're pretty deep into the video, and these are the first positive claims made about true America, prime America so far. And that's free speech, Christ is king. Now, defending free speech, no one thinks that's a bold stance. But saying that America is ruled by Christ, that's the first peek we get under the hood here. Now, is the USA a Christian nation? Is the model of government here supposed to be theocracy, Christocracy? I have no comment on this, but I want you to see what Nick does next with this.
Christ is king, America first, and free speech. This is a Christian nation.
You know what? You know where he gets you as well? Bitches love a list. If you just say anything in like a group of 3, you're gonna get some bitches. I don't like to tell you that that's the case, but it simply is. It's easy. The rule of 3. You'll see it a lot in elections as well. People will outline like 3 things. So this is free speech, Christ is king. I don't remember what the last one was. America first. Easy. 3. People will remember it. Bitches love a list. Never forget it.
Jesus Christ is our king, and our laws and our government should be inspired by Christ. Not just the Bible, not just the Old Testament. No. The person of Jesus Christ.
Not the biography written by the Jews. My own personal biography that I made up, where he was on a horse.
And let's not make any mistakes here. Let's not make any rounding errors. Don't get it twisted. They like to say biblical.
Johnny, he doesn't have to read anything about Christ because he can make it up.
They like to say Old Testament, Hebrew Bible. That's all great. But without the person of Jesus Christ, no one gets to God.
You don't understand. Nick knew Christ personally. He doesn't need a book to tell him, okay? He knew that guy. Okay? You don't need to tell him he's better friends with Christ than you are. Okay, he didn't need to read a book. It's so funny that you would come to me and tell me to read the Bible when I know Jesus personally. It's super close.
So, no. Actually, and maybe this is controversial, but I'll be the one to say it. The man, the God-man, the hypostatic union, Jesus Christ, he was real, he is real, he was God.
Israel.
He is God before any of us were born, before anything was...
They don't like Vatican II, Hannah. They're all fucking... It is so crazy how much these American Catholics beef with the Pope. They shouldn't be allowed to. And yet they do, because they're all secret sedevacantists. They shouldn't be beefing with the Pope. It's rude and un-Catholic. That's meant to be your guy.
Was created. He is God, co-eternal and begotten by the Father. That takes precedence, actually. People say the Hebrew Bible, people say biblical, people say Abrahamic. I'm going to pretend like I don't speak English. I don't know what those words mean. The only language I understand is Jesus Christ is God. That's the foundation. That's our moral code. He didn't say the Bible.
I got to do this more. That felt really effective. Yeah, nods emphatically in Recovering Catholic. It just shits me. Stop arguing with the Pope. That's your guy. Or get out of here.
Bible is the way, the truth, and the life. He said, I am. And that's an important distinction. Jesus Christ is king.
Okay, this is high IQ. Not the theology, because theology you can really just say whatever you want and it could be true, but you'd never know. But how Nick is using theology here, I have to say he's a gifted young man, and you might be surprised that there's just a random theology lesson plopped into the middle of a rant like this, of all reasons. But yes, Nick is a Catholic Christian, and maybe I don't give the Groypers enough credit, but personally, I'm not picturing a group.
These fuckers aren't Catholics. I'm sorry, not to I know, I'm not really a Catholic. But he's not a Catholic.
Group of scholars here interested in the application of Aristotelian metaphysics to the Nicene Creed, but in this context, Nick is combating Arianism, but not that Arianism, this Arianism. And one of the reasons, I have to say I'm impressed. The reason that Nick needs to stress this eternal uncreatedness of Christ right here, of all places.
Remember, begotten, not created. Begotten, not created. Oh, come, let us adore him.
Is to separate Jesus, the historical character, from the Christ, whatever that is, that he wants to rule.
Wait. those two Christs look so different. I don't even care racially. It's just one, this guy's mogging the other Christ.
America. And the problem with Jesus for Nick is that he was a Jew. Because he said he was. He belonged to the Jewish religion, went to the Jewish temple, ate the Jewish holiday meals. But Nick wants or needs to make being a Jew what Aristotle would call an accidental property instead of a
Oops.
substantial one. Now, this is not Nick's argument. It's over 1,000 years old because Christianity on the whole has always been a little embarrassed that it's kind of like just, it's blatantly derived from this other religion when that other religion's
Sorry,
still
guys.
around. We just stapled a different conclusion to the other holy book. So this has been kind of embarrassing. And that's why we have a theology lesson sandwiched in here. It's so that you don't confuse Jesus.
Imagine back in the day if Christ was like, yeah, I am a Jew, but it's an accident. And then people are like, so what are you actually? And he's like, well, I'm white. What?
This with Jews. Because if Christ is eternal, then he can't be Jewish because he existed prior to being accidentally embodied in a Jewish body in a Jewish culture from a Jewish mother, you know? So another thing is he's also separating himself from Protestants here because, you know, most of Protestants
Fuck
from Luther
Protestants.
say sola scriptura. Nick can't have sola scriptura because,
because
the
it was written
Jews,
by the Jews.
did not just write the Old Testament. The Jews wrote the whole Bible, asterisks, except for 2 books. None of that stuff you can mention though, because this dividing line is way too important. Now he is right about this one thing that conservative Jews do for Christians, which is make up this thing called Western civilization based on a shared Judeo-Christian heritage or Judeo-Christian values.
Judeo-Christian values
Oh,
are the moral foundation
legend.
of Western civilization.
Yeah, you think you're atheist, man. It's like you're Christian, Judeo-Christian, let's say, to the core.
The reason that we say
Steve Bannon also loves this.
a Judeo-Christian value system is because in terms of the value system itself, the commonalities are overwhelming.
And this term, Judeo-Christian values, Judeo-Christian in general, is not coincidentally concurrent with Zionism and the state of Israel. Because before that, Christians didn't necessarily want to think of Jews as being part of their thing because, you know, it's kind of embarrassing. But this long history of Judeo-Christian history, Judeo-Christian values that they're referring to, this is just basically an invention. This is a tool, an invention of Zionists, Jewish Zionists and Christian Zionists, like John Hagee, Prager, all those guys, they like this term. Ben Shapiro, they use this to rope Christians into the Zionist project, which has been, I mean, it's been a lesson in success. It's been immensely successful. And also, it has this bonus effect of strategically excluding the other global monotheistic religion from history. The one that, you know, preserved Plato, invented our number system,
Who cares?
invented optics,
Who cares?
caused the Renaissance. Then because they didn't want a bunch of Europeans
They're barbarians. Never forget that.
just arbitrarily plopped into their neighborhood with a bunch of guns, they got written out of history. No, Judeo-Christian history. But back to Nick, okay? Nick, I'm honestly sure that he's fine with writing Muslims out of Western history. But he still wants to take a step further and write the Jews out of Christian history. And because of that history that I just mentioned, this is a little bit difficult to do. So for him, we have to grudgingly accept that the Bible's still going to have to be around, but we're going to base our system of governments now not on rationality, not on the traditions of Western political philosophy. No, we're going to base America first on our interpretation of the words of a Jewish radical who was executed in Iron Age Palestine. Don't worry. If that sounds confusing,
Who? Don't just say that. What's his
we're gonna
name?
quickly get more details.
Number
Okay.
2, he said America first. Who could disagree?
Trump and Nick, both big gesticulators. I gotta get into using my hands more.
Agree with this? Is that not what George Washington said in his farewell address? No entangling alliances, not going abroad in search of monsters to destroy? What did John Jay write in Federalist 2?
I don't
A
know.
splendid union on one continent, one people, one religion, one heritage, similar in manners and customs, all the way through to Donald Trump. A new vision will govern the land, America first. Who could disagree?
Who?
We were blessed by providence to be separated from the rest of the world by 2 oceans. To have all this land, all our natural resources, an enormous population. We're not beholden to anybody, any country, not any country in Europe or Asia or the Middle East or anywhere for that matter. And that's because we have sovereignty. That is because we declared our independence.
He does just gish gallop, doesn't he? Like, he uses a lot of fucking words. Like,
We emancipated ourselves. We appealed to our rights that come from God as citizens, not
like, once again, sorry, just to harp on him being a man in a woman-dominated field. He's constantly worried about his own safety. Okay. He's got body dysmorphia. He constantly is whinging. And also, he can't shut up. Just yap, 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 yap. I'm just saying. This is using misogyny as a positive force. You've not seen it done before, but it can be done.
Subjects as independent and sovereign people of the United States of America. That's the foundation of the Declaration. That's the foundation of the Constitution and of our country. America first. It can be no other way. Who could disagree? And free speech, our freedom of conscience, our First Amendment rights enshrined in the Bill of Rights, the ability to think and say what we believe, because that's how we solve our problems in this country, not by way of deception.
Where does that go?
Not rise and kill them first, which is the motto of the Israeli Mossad. Rise and kill them first by way of deception. We don't solve our problems like that in America. We're not cowards. We don't do false flags. We don't do cowardly.
America doesn't do false flags? First I'm hearing of it.
Assassinations.
America doesn't do assassinations? First I'm hearing of it.
Solve our problems by talking to each other. That's who we are.
America talks to people to solve their problems? First I'm hearing of it.
That's who we've always been. Going back to the Greeks and the Romans.
What did the Greeks and the Romans have to do with fucking America? You guys are a bunch of weird witches, magical Christians that came over from the UK because you were too lame to stay there.
And our heritage in the British Empire, that's who we are. Who could disagree?
Me.
Let's be very clear what this is about, okay? Think about what is happening to America. Let's take a break with this.
Now, before we take a break with him, let's just reiterate what he's done here. This column, it's not named yet, but you can see where it's going, right? This column,
naughty
though, this
list.
is not Nick's real enemy. This is very important because this is civil war. This is not endgame.
Oh.
The Jews and the Zionists are not the endgame. They're just the first cosmic battle for the soul of America, whether that soul is Jewish or Christian. Once it's Christian, we can move on to what actually matters. Now, this bears all the marks of nationalist myth it's been a thing since like the 18th century.
I've been saying
We
it's been a
have
thing.
Greco-Roman in here as part of our team.
Bannon also loves the Greco-Romans, and so does the Bronze Age pervert, and that part of the Trump coalition.
Of our history, that's tried and true. But we also need to quarantine the Bible. This one's a little bit more surprising, I think. We have to quarantine the Bible because it's tainted by Judaism. So the question is then, if we can't really trust the Bible, we can't put the Bible in a central position. So how are we going to get to Christ if not via the Bible? And I'm going to put that on the...
You know what's crazy about this as well? Is that like a true Catholic would not suggest that they have a personal relationship with Jesus or God. They don't have access in that way, from my perspective. So I'm interested to hear how this is answered.
Back burner for 1 second. Now you'll see that when producing associations, as Nick does, things that are contradictory or things that actually even really happened, they don't play much of a role here. This is more like writing the ad copy for a commercial than saying something true. Like Greece and Rome, they count as white people, but the white people of that time, they were there, but they were living in,
Wait, sorry to just zigzag into a personal story. I'm an actor, and like often I have to fill in these like they're called wardrobe forms, and they always ask you for your ethnicity. So I'm always like, well, I can say white. I can say Anglo-Saxon, which I'm not sure, or I can say Caucasian, but that's not necessarily accurate. But it always feels so weird writing white. What are you guys upset about?
Mud huts at this point. Pointing things out like that, that's nerd shit. Pointing things out like that does not matter. We're roping in the Romans because the Romans are cool. Or
that
it was the Romans that killed Christ, right?
No, don't
crucifixion
focus on
was a
that.
Roman method of execution, not a Jewish one. But the Romans killed Christ. That's okay because they're cool. All the Christians were Jews. We're just going to ignore that fact. The Bible was written by Jews. We're just going to ignore that fact.
Ignore away.
Because we want the
inconvenient.
Romans in the Christian legacy. We want the Romans in the European legacy, despite the fact that Rome had much more in common culturally with these other Mediterranean empires, Mediterranean civilizations that are not European, that probably didn't look European, because the white people didn't have anything to be proud of. Again, I'm telling you nerd shit that doesn't matter because the Romans are cool. We want them in our legacy. What Jesus, the actual guy, believed, how Jesus lived, Jesus's family, none of this matters.
We should do that for the whole world. We should just get all the ethnicities from all of history, all of time, all of the world, and decide which ones are cool. Very cool, Fuentes, guys. Very cool,
Similarly,
guys.
we have a bunch of negative attributes where America... Oh, God. This is just funny. America, unlike Israel, does not use deception in warfare.
Does
not use false flags or assassinations, cowardly assassinations, in its centuries of war. George Washington, too, is put under the nation that is ruled by Christ.
And
even
Fuentes.
though he was a deist. Feelings don't care about your facts. And Nick's feelings...
I said that the other day, remember? Me and this guy were just like...
belong to this mythic discourse, which has different rules from something like history. Myth allows you to just collect the things that are cool and associate yourself with those things. Then find all the things you find uncool and associate other people with those things.
I love doing that.
So, on the whole, this myth then explains how
Guys, I think I'm developing a personal myth then, because that's kind of all I do.
The poor Groypers are beset upon by the clever Jews who are leeching off our manna and sending it over to Israel. But don't get tricked here, because everything he's said so far is about to be rewritten. The Jews are not Nick's real enemy in his mythos. They are a distraction. And in fact, Nick speaks pretty highly of Jews. He admires their cunning. He respects them as rivals. Nick's problem with the Jews is not that they're doing ethno-nationalism. It's that they get to do ethno-nationalism, and he doesn't. They're doing ethno-nationalism on behalf of the wrong country. Take a look.
What is happening to America? America is convulsing. There are probably 40 or 50 million illegal immigrants here. The foreign-born population has never been higher. We have been assaulted by wave after wave after wave of unrelenting, uninterrupted, always increasing mass migration from third world, non-white countries.
Wait, so am I allowed or not? Am I allowed in Nick's America?
We're losing America. Our cities are filthy. They're chaotic. They're filled with crime. The public transit is inhospitable and
I think the public transit is part of the culture. Maybe that comes from spending a lot of time in New York. But I think there's some excitement to riding the subway. And I like it that way.
Safe. Housing is unaffordable. Everything is too expensive, largely in part because of this. Wages are stagnant and going down because of the glut of foreign labor coming here.
Well,
forget about free trade. All the free trade agreements, bilateral and NAFTA and everything like that, which is sending all the jobs overseas. The country is insolvent. The country is broke. The country is dirty and violent and chaotic. It is too diverse. And
me on a bad day. Coming home after being overstimulated. Trying to get home. Too many people on the train. The country is dirty. The country is chaotic. The country is insolvent. It's a problem. I can't afford fucking anything.
And if you attempt to enforce the laws or deport the illegals or remigrate the foreigners, you have riots of insane, radical left-wingers, anarchists, and transsexuals that are willing to shoot and kill not only conservatives, but also law enforcement.
Me on a good day.
We have an entire generation that is not breeding. They're not having kids because they are demoralized, because they are depressed, because the women are feminist, because pornography is a scourge.
Of course.
Because basic necessities like home ownership are unaffordable, because the job market is frozen, and they're only pulling up the ladder with artificial intelligence. This is the state of America.
This is America.
None of these people, none of them have talked about any of these issues. You know what Ben Shapiro says about white people?
I'm fairly sure Ben Shapiro often talks about people having babies and how bad porn is and how bad feminists are and how much he hates the radical left and the transsexuals. And I think he does talk about a lot of these things. Nick?
People in Ohio and Pennsylvania and Michigan and Wisconsin that have been affected by these problems. He says, too bad. You're not promised jobs. You're not promised houses. He said, the only thing you're promised is the adventure of a lifetime. So go.
And what's wrong with that?
Work on an oil rig or something.
They wouldn't have me.
You know what Ben Shapiro said about these problems? He said, I don't give a damn about the browning of America. Really? Because I give a damn about that. I think a lot of people give a damn about that. I think a lot of people that have lived in neighborhoods.
You're a Mexican.
For generations cities or states or small towns and cities, I think they care a lot about Springfield, Ohio becoming Haiti, or Minneapolis becoming Somalia, or Dearborn becoming Saudi Arabia, or Los Angeles becoming Mexico, or Miami becoming Cuba. I think a lot of people care a lot about the browning of America. We don't like it. But what did the Jewish conservatives have to say about these problems? Oh, yeah. They said you're a conspiracy theorist. They said you're a white nationalist. You're a white supremacist. They're literally counting down the days when white people become a minority. And at the same time that they're victim blaming, at the same time that they're telling white people, get over it. This is a country with non-whites now.
Yeah, it's so crazy the way some of these places are newly becoming Spanish and brown, and never ever before were there ever brown people there. It's totally a new thing. Never happened before. So strange. Los Angeles, San Francisco, these places, they used to be white. Purely white. Texas, white. Please. Florida, white. Never any brown people there. Okay? Idiots.
This is a country with immigrants that are more American than you because they're not ingrates. What the hell happened to America first?
There's this place called Murray Hill in New York. A little too Australian, if you ask me. The Australians are invading. No one ever talks about that. Notice that? Yeah, we're there. We're opening bars. We're doing things. Watch out. Notice how the Australians take over Hollywood? Notice how all the hottest people in Hollywood are Australian? No one ever talks about that, do they? Stealing your jobs? Our bombshells, our home and away exports are stealing your hot people jobs? No one ever talks about it.
We hate to interrupt this conversation between Israelis and communist Jews about how we're going to divide up America.
Whoa. Communist, I have no idea where this came from. There's no precedent in this video. I think this has to be a Hitler reference. Unless he's talking about Bernie Sanders. The communist. Tell me if you know who that is, because that just came right out of nowhere.
I do know who that is. And he's got the cute little hair. Who's the first president of Israel? He's so cute. Prime Minister. First Prime Minister. And he's got the little hair. And he was communist. Does anyone remember his name? I was thinking about him the other day and I couldn't remember his name either. He's cutie patootie. No? No one? First Prime Minister. Big communist. Loved the idea of the kibbutz. No one? Jeez, guys, thanks for the help. Not Wiseman. The Prime Minister. Cutie patootie. Ben Gurion. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Shouldn't have taken us that long. As a group.
But what the fuck about us? What about Americans? Hate to interrupt your little debate about whether we're going to give the money to Israel or whether we're going to give it to refugees.
Give the money to me. Please. Please.
Refugees and in the form of welfare reparations. But what about Americans? This is the United States of America.
What about me?
And we are done giving all of our money and all of our attention and all of our emotional bandwidth to you and your tragedies and your bitching and what?
Oh my God, self-report, Nick. You and your bitching and whining. Literally, you will not shut the fuck up about all of your problems. Men and women dominated fields. Notice, I am literally just going to repeat everything he says about his version of America. Thank you for gifting subs. It scares me every time. But I appreciate it. Every time he complains about his America, I'm just going to take his complaint and make it about me. And you'll see how quickly he's just being a whiny little bitch, just like me. That's my field. You want to come and play in my arena?
Complaining about Israel and the democracy in the Middle East and all this kind of stuff, because you know what? America's a pretty tolerant country. And
I'm a pretty tolerant woman.
And you guys are doing pretty good.
And you're all doing fine. You all have real person jobs.
Jews are the wealthiest demographic in the United States. Nobody's getting cheated.
All of these men out there watching me, you're not getting cheated by the wage gap. You don't have to worry about childcare or biological clock. You got it pretty good, okay? I'm pretty tolerant of you guys. You got it pretty fucking good.
And at last, we arrive at the present political conflict. So he has named them. Do you see how long it took him, though? Do you see how many hours you have to wade through to get to, like, the thesis statement?
Yeah, you know, you've got your Bezos, your Andreessens, your Elon Musks. You notice whenever a woman starts to succeed in that field, you know what they do to the women? They put them in prison. I'm not even Elizabeth Holmes, Anna Delvey. When women try to succeed in men's fields, they put them in prison.
If you start the video, he's not gonna. He's smart. He's not gonna start with the helter-skelter race war. No, we have to do a long rising action leading up to the race war. But let's look at these categories. These are all three Americas.
Okay.
We have the Jews, which includes non-Jews, but it's Zionist-controlled America.
Okay.
America Z. Let's call it America Z. And America Z is a sort of, it's a parasite, but it actually exists. It's the temporary issue. Jews are more clever than your salt of the earth everyday Americans. Now, it's this America that exists at the moment in the sense that the events he refers to build up this category, most of them actually happened, right? Miriam Adelson did give Trump $100 million.
And gave me nothing. So much for women supporting women.
Ben Shapiro is a Zionist. The Bible is Jewish. Larry Ellison does buy his...
I said this. The text on the screen is actually not all that aesthetic. But I guess it's helpful.
Many media properties as he can. If you watch a Fuentes stream, this part is meant to get you nodding along. Yeah,
I told you, it's
making
the
some
party
points.
trick.
He's cooking here. But the second America, this America, let's call it America Prime. This is virtual. It doesn't exist.
Yet.
It's where you can find those honest, hardworking, salt of the earth, white Americans who just love peace and they wanna take care of their ranch, but they can't because there's an invasion. America.
I'm just a girl. A tolerant, peaceful, hardworking woman who can't get ahead because of these men. I am Prime.
America Prime is the virtual world in which America is first. It includes mythic elements. It includes
I am a myth.
Things that did happen.
I am mythic.
And things that didn't happen. And things that did happen that are kind of skewed here.
That's how my friends feel about my law. They can't even remember anymore. They're like, how did that happen? When did you own a laundry business?
Here, like making George Washington a devout Christian.
You
In
dated
America
George
First,
Washington?
America Prime, Christ leads America from his great white horse. Oh, and Christ is white. Or he works on behalf of
Christ
the
is a
whites
woman.
at least. And everyone is safe and secure and sovereign. And because
That's what I mean. My friends, they forget my lore. It's myth. They don't even remember whether things have really happened.
Because Nick is beneficent, he throws in healthcare for you too. Like, who wouldn't love that? While we're dreaming of things we want,
Why
just
not?
throw in healthcare there. Now, the reason that America Prime has not been actualized is not because it's mythical. It's not because he just made it up. It's because America Z has fought against it and is holding it back. It's the
Oh.
true America, but it can't be realized because America Z has hijacked it and diverted the mana, diverted the energy away, and sent it to Israel. America Z's the reason that America looks like this column and not this column.
They're overrepresented in the Senate, on the
Okay, the text is getting really annoying for me.
Supreme Court, on Wall Street, in the media. This country's been pretty good to you. What more can you ask for?
Women have been pretty good to you. He's literally cutting our grass.
Not everything is about you. And where's
Not everything is about you, men.
the gratitude? Where's the respect? Where's the no?
Literally, if I say this and I just make it about women, you will notice. He's just stealing our bit. Where's the gratitude? Men, not everything is about you. We've been pretty good to you.
Bless, oblige. This country has given you so much.
There is a Trump 2025 version and there is a Trump 2016 version. If you watch my video, MAGA Magic, the delineation, I go through there as well if you want more information on that.
But it's never enough. And they're going too far. It's that simple. Netanyahu has made it very...
I'm sorry, the spooky music completely kills any source that he has for me.
clear that the information war in America, he considers that a front in his war against Iran and the Palestinians. That's why they bought TikTok. That's why they bought CBS. I'm pleased with myself knowing that for all my faults, for all my sins, all the careless words, mistakes I've made, I always stood with Jesus Christ, with the Catholic Church, with our founders, with the United States and our sovereignty, our independence, the veterans, our ancestors.
I'm going to call Pope Leo and I'm going to get him to reject you.
The people that built this country, fought for this country, died for this country, the saints and the apostles, for the Greeks and the Romans, for the conquerors, the colonists, the Europeans. I stood with them. What did you do?
This is very confusing, this list.
When it was the time for choosing, did you work for Ben Shapiro some more?
Man, this is where it clicked for me. I'm like, holy shit, I understand. That's because I've seen exactly this structure before. It was used by opportunists to take over a society with a story of racial animosity, and you probably know what it is. It's the cargo cults of Melanesia.
Of course.
Nicholas Fuentes is a cargo cult leader in structure.
We're cargo culting traditionalism. It's a simulacrum of traditionalism.
I think this
Simulacrum?
probably really deserves its own video because we're so far into this, like tacking it on to the end. But think about it. What is it that the Jews are stealing? Now, he goes on to say, probably something true, I'm not sure, but that Jews are above average in all these categories, income, education. They're overrepresented.
Don't you love it when your haters just like compliment you? The Jews are too smart, they're too hot, they're too rich, they got too much swag. It's not fair. I'm so sorry, His Royal Slyness. I'm trying to learn about the enemy, but I've just learned the enemy is someone I know very well. Women. It's men pretending to be women and exemplifying our worst traits. I am using misogyny positively against men LARPing as women.
And the USA is also, I think, true, sends more aid, more weapons to Israel than to any other country. So
You got
these are
too many
facts,
guns.
I assume. But honestly, they're quite inconsequential. If you add up all the money that Ellison sent to the IDF and all the money and all the weapons and all the foreign aid that the USA has sent to Israel ever, And if you even add to that the total trade value of the relationship between Israel and the US.
That's so funny, Hannah.
I checked, added all this up, and it all equals less than 1%, a fraction of a percent of the American economy. The Jews or
Bro, get the text off your fucking face.
Israel, yes.
I know that I am not the best at making videos, but this is insane. Get the text off your face. This is annoying me. I'm getting annoyed.
In local places, they are disproportionately important. But all things considered, in the whole scheme of things, they're not that important. So Nick says that the Jews are stealing all our money, all our attention, and all our emotional bandwidth.
Giving all of our money and all of our attention and all of our emotional bandwidth.
Literally any girl who's upset with her boyfriend. I don't get any of your attention. You never give me any of like your emotional bandwidth. I just want to have a discussion. You never take me on dates. You never buy me gifts. Like,
3 things that they're stealing: money, attention, emotional bandwidth.
The 3 things you fight about in a relationship.
And whatever these immeasurable quantities are, they are being siphoned off and stolen and sent somewhere else. Our attention is
To your side chick. To that other bitch. You don't think I know who the fuck is Madeline?
being picked up from where it belongs and sent to the Middle East. This is the same story that the charismatic leaders of the primitive societies on these Polynesian islands said for why whites had everything, why whites had everything so easy, and why they had to struggle, why their life was so hard. And if you don't know the backstory of the cargo cult,
yeah, I want to know more about
the cargo
these people.
cults. They actually kicked off before World War II, but for simplicity's sake,
exactly
during
God.
World War II in the Pacific, the Japanese and the American militaries, they were island hopping, setting up temporary military bases on these islands, and the islands had islanders on it, indigenous islanders. And the islanders watched these soldiers, they watched what they did, they watched them march around, do their military drills, they watched them talk on the radio and fly and land planes. And they also saw
My Girl's Guide to Ukraine can completely be discounted under the current system.
saw that these guys did not have to hunt for food. They didn't have to weave their own clothes or whatever. The planes landed with these boxes and they unloaded the boxes and it was full of supplies, cargo, hence cargo cult. All the needs of the whites were met by the cargo that came off of these planes. This caused a crisis in their society. Tell me if this echoes at all. Why do we have to live this difficult life? We have to hunt, we have to fish, we have to work all day. And these guys have all their needs met by cargo plane.
Men talking about women. Truly. Sorry, but it's true.
They just land here and give them everything they need. Charismatic.
Women don't have to pay for dates. They don't have to pay for anything. They get everything just handed to them. In society now, they just get into school. They don't have to do anything.
Opportunists in this society started telling a story that became known as cargo cults. And they saw this as a chance to, elevate their own status. The hierarchy was being upset by this, invasion, an invasion from the outside. So they told this story about how their ancestors lived in a land of plenty, in the world beyond, in heaven, and that land was full of cargo, and their ancestors were sending the cargo
Hell yeah.
here. They had plenty, and they were sending it to their descendants to give them a better life. But the whites that are particularly clever, not
Stole it.
necessarily evil, but particularly clever, they had found a way to divert this cargo that their ancestors were sending them.
Unbelievable.
I think it was by changing just the address labels. They were changing the address labels on the boxes, so it went to white people instead of to the islanders who were
Nice to
the
meet you,
rightful
Jared.
recipients of the cargo. So to get it back, they had to copy the methods that the whites were using to
clever.
divert the cargo. by talking into radios, by doing marches, and by flying planes.
This is kind of
So
fucking
this is what the
sick.
Melanesians copied in hopes of getting their rightful cargo back. Now, there still are cargo cultists to this day. Very few, but a few. And usually this is seen as a story for us to say, oh, look at how dumb these primitives are. But what people don't know, this is back in the 60s or the 70s, when the cargo cults were at their peak. They got the leaders of these cults to show them, hey, look, this is not magic. This is not magical cargo. You don't need to worship this stuff. We just make this stuff over here, and then it goes onto planes. We move it around, and that's what your parents saw. There's nothing magic here. What you believe is not real. And you know what happened? Nothing. Nothing. The islanders did not see
No way.
the true
Neither would I.
explanation and change their ways. They
Nope.
did not change their beliefs based on this experience. They continued on with the
Because that's not what
cargo
it's
cult
about.
rituals for another
Feelings don't care about your facts. We know this.
20 or 30 years. They continued to believe in cargo, this floating signifier.
Because if you're smart enough to change the address on all the cargo, you're smart enough to lie to me.
We're cargo.
And I'm not gonna risk it. I'm not gonna risk stopping what I'm doing, my little magical rituals, in case you're lying to me, which is exactly what someone like you would do.
Occulting traditionalism. It's a simulacrum of traditionalism. It's a representation of a representation that never existed.
This is relevant sociologically here. What is cargo? So cargo is what
Stuff.
Levi-Strauss called a floating signifier.
Oh, okay, fine.
These are the same people on these islands, coincidentally, that believed in mana. It's their word. It's interesting. They're dressing up
Nice.
as Americans
Circling
and
back.
marching around with USA on their chests, while we're using mana in Warcraft. So let's go back to mana. This is the primeval floating signifier over here. Cargo isn't real. There is real cargo, but the signifier of cargo is not something that's real. Just like the money and pride and dignity that Americans are sending all of it over to Israel, that isn't real either. There is real money going there, but the signifier is not referencing something that's actually happening. It's a mythic signifier. And it's used to make an incoherent world that sucks, just like it was for the Islanders. This world sucks. Why do we have to work? They don't. It makes that incoherent world coherent. Certain facts then.
But I
are
was saying, this guy and I, we get one another. The conspiracy works because you don't understand why you were suffering. Fuck me. Holy fucking shit. Stop gifting subs! You're going to make me delusional. You're going to make me delusional. I'm going to be like, oh, I can do this. I can do this full time. And it won't be true and I'll be suffering. But thank you. Thank you very much. But this is what I'm saying in terms of... Wait, hang on. John Fromm to return. You've waited 2,000 years for Jesus, so could we? Yeah, this is actually... Yeah, the subs are actually cargo that's being dropped from the heavens being the sheriff. And Nathan is dropping subs similar to cargo. So unlike when I look at someone like Mike from PA and I'm like, why doesn't he have to suffer? Why does he have 7,000 subs? I'm now just, I will do what he does. I will put Mike from PA on my chest. And Nathan will drop cargo from the skies. Thank you, Jeannie. But he and I are on the same page in terms of when things don't make sense, when your suffering doesn't make sense, you need to create this kind of story to give it meaning and to make it coherent to you so you can understand it. And that then becomes something that you can understand. And then at least you can understand your own suffering, particularly if you can blame it on something. That is ideal. Yeah, we are now actually the cargo cult of Twin Peaks. That is what we are.
incorporated into the narrative, but not the whole world, right? It's a model. It's a cross-section of a small part of the world that suits the storytellers. Nick Fuentes is
Not the
running
text.
a cargo cult. Bigger
So I'm gonna start one too.
than any previous cargo cult. And its central doctrine is that this mythic white mana, white energy, is being stolen by Jews. And because we don't have it, we're unable to fight the filthy immigrant.
Can I just, oh, it's gone. I was just gonna say the Catholic imagery, like the Sacred Heart and stuff. God, I love that. God, I love Catholic aesthetics.
Criminals. There's actually a better one than mana. You know, Vril from this novel. This is better for the gripers because it incorporates esoteric race science. But Vril. Now, Nick gestures towards this energy that is sent to Americans by their ancestors with equally vague terms. He literally, though, says that it's the ancestors that are sending it. He says the veterans and the saints and the fathers.
Have I told you guys about my ancestors? I actually have numerous royal mistresses in my lineage. Not one, 3. 3 king fuckers. I'm just saying, if they would like to send me anything, I will take it.
And the Greeks, this is where this source of energy comes from. Now, Nick's words for mana or vril or cargo or whatever we want to call it, they're all equivalent as floating.
Johnny Clueless, you were begotten, not created.
Signifiers. He said providence, right? You can see providence on here. He said money, attention, emotional bandwidth. But the point of all these things is the same. Not only are the ancestors the source of this well of magical energy, the ultimate source is Christ the King. Christ the King. So whether it's providence or the fathers or money or emotional bandwidth, the force is what these clever Jews are diverting, just like the clever...
No, I'm not a princess, because that would require me to be a member of the royal family, which I never was. None of my ancestors were actually royals. We were used. Used, I tell you.
Whites diverted the cargo from the Melanesian Islanders. And it's not just the Jews, as you'll see here, it's the women taking men's jobs.
And I'm here to tell you, Nick, we women think it's you.
AI taking men's jobs. Porn somehow fits in. Porn is sapping
porn is
the
for
vril
women.
of the
Porn is
of the
women.
white man. Our vril is what makes white people breed. Breed. The word breeding is on here. This is the term you need. It's a unified
To get your
theory,
ancestors
a unified sort of
who give you magic.
mana theory of whichever floating signifier you want to put in there. This makes a coherent universe for Nick and his followers out of the incoherent one. Out of the incoherent one where everything sucks. That's what this is about.
The simplest, most fundamental form of the idea.
What are you, Italian? Careful.
Behind all of it is this. Everything is going to shit. We all know the way things...
Me the week before my period. It's simple. Everything is going to shit.
Used to be.
It
No
used to be
unmeasurable quantity
good.
is just Israel is taking all of it. This is why it doesn't work, in fact, to say to the gripers, no, the U.S. is not sending all of its GDP to Israel every year. Because
It's
in
sending it to
Nick's
Donald
mana
Trump.
Theory, this is the only explanation as to why it feels bad here now. It's that our ancestral birthright, this energy that we...
I mean, at its very base, it's just the conspiratorial thinking and the conspiratorial kind of solution to any problem, right? Men are suffering because women. The US is suffering because immigrants or Israel. Like, this is a common thing. Like, the whites are suffering because of the blacks, you know? Like, the blacks are suffering because of the Chinese. Like, it's always like, pick a group. Like, everyone is suffering because of Epstein and the cabal and the, what do they call it? That place. You know, the place where the rich people go and they meet and they hang out? The Grove? The World Economic Forum? You know, it's all, everyone is suffering because of a specific one other person. And instead of blaming Davos, thank you, everyone is like, it's something that is specific and tangible and small. Instead of systemic, it's like one thing, one group of people, one person, one certain thing. And that's the reason we're all suffering, obviously.
This promise to us has been stolen or diverted, or it's sent somewhere else, so we can't use it.
Gerard, chocolate mints.
For our purposes. That's why everything sucks, and why it feels like Israel is allowed to constantly win. They're allowed to do whatever they want, but we whites were only allowed to lose. So this is...
You know, we don't talk about it enough, the historical suffering of the whites. We really don't pay enough attention to it.
The myth of this stolen mana, stolen providence.
They stole our mana.
Stolen life force, where true American
they took
energy
my manhood.
is being diverted by an entire race of cunning thieves in order to weaken.
Wait, guys, I've been coming up with, sorry, just speaking of stealing mana, I have this, my favorite rom-com is How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. And it becomes very apparent to me why, when I think of like fun things I want to do on a date. One is I want to date someone and then call them. Okay, as always, none of this works on a woman, because if you do this to a woman, they'll just love you because women rock. But doing this to men, very funny, diabolical in my mind, okay? First, go on a date, call them, FaceTime video, lip sync an entire song, hang up, no explanation, do not respond to any text messages for a week. Diabolical. Diabolical 2. Go on a first date somewhere where you can get photo booth photos. Next date, invite them over to your house, have those photos framed on the wall. Do not explain it, but make sure they see it. Okay. Diabolical number 3. This is my favorite one. And this is the one that made me think of this. Insist that you could take your date in a fight. Insist. Insist that you fight. Say you must fight them. Then, when they fight you, if they win, cry. And if they let you win, say that you can no longer respect them anymore as a man. Anyway, these are fun things I want to do. Yeah. I never really see anything getting past the second date.
Weaken us so that we can be conquered, exploited. Trump 45 shows up here too, because Trump 45 promised to return cargo to the whites, but oh, oopsie, then the Jews tricked him. The Jews,
they got him, guys.
We got him. Money. Now, what we need our vril for, what we need our mana back for, is how to destroy everyone in this column. Destroy all of this, upend it, remigrate them. And if that doesn't work, well, I'd like to know. Nick's understandably cagey about what we're going to do to everybody in here because, you know, there's white people in here that you can't remigrate. There's citizens in here that you can't remigrate.
Well, apparently you can. ICE is deporting citizens.
I'd like to know, Nick. What are we going to do once
But I forgot, sorry. We don't like... Trump is doing that, but we don't like Trump. I'm so confused by this man, but it's okay.
Get our vril back. Once the whites stop the Jews from stealing all of our energy, then the next step is somehow to purge feminism, to purge porn, transsexuals, filth, anarchists, and AI from America while increasing the breeding.
If we get rid of all that stuff, what would Nick do with his spare time?
Of whites, increasing jobs, employment for whites, and finally to tamp down on the endless violence caused by non-whites by getting rid of all of them. Remember, he's not violent. They're not violent. It's the Zionists and the anarchists that are the violent ones. We don't want to kill them. We just want to forcibly remigrate them.
We just want them to stop
this
existing.
This is a term I just learned, actually, remigration. It just means ethnic cleansing. But I guess we're doing peaceful ethnic cleansing. Violent one. I don't know. But you can see, again, why Nick doesn't hate Israel. He's jealous of their success.
Many
Their sin
such
is
cases.
stealing our energy.
Many such cases. All my haters, jealous. So I approve of this message. There is truth at its core.
Not what they're doing with their energy.
Also, everyone I hate, jealous. That's just true.
So the mainstream panic over Nick Fuentes is because he's an anti-Semite. And that's, it's true, but he's so much worse than that. Nick's opposition to Jews.
We had just had the opportunity to quote Eric Adams and we missed it. Our haters will become the waiters at our table of success.
Comes from the fact that they are allowed to do racial, religious nationalism in the form of Zionism. And this is encouraged here. It's encouraged by
unfair
most of the media, encouraged by the U.S. government, encouraged by the status quo, politicians, and they let this go on. But when he tries to do racial, religious nationalism, then they deplatform him and they call him Hitler. And
what's that about?
That's not fair. That's not fair to him. Because Israel is what he wants. They have Jews, Judaism, Israel. He wants white Catholic America. So at bottom, look at this.
But America was never Catholic. The people who came over were not Catholic. The people who landed on Plymouth Rock were not Catholic. If America gets to be anything, if they get to have a religious nationalism, surely the Mormons win out. That's the most American religion. Surely it should be Mormonism. I'm just saying.
At the bottom, the source of all his animosity, his antipathy, is this. Explicitly, he says it.
It's racial, it's religious, there's a tinge of religious and racial supremacy.
He loves it.
All the things that they say white people cannot.
No, Episcopalian isn't magic enough. You need to go back. If you go back to the very first people who were the religious freaks who came to America, and then they got more freaky with their new thought, Mormonism makes sense. Any kind of magic Christianity, if it's Christian magic, that gets to be the religion, not Catholics.
Not have. All the things that they say for white people are evil, but for white people it's evil.
They were Puritans.
If white people work together on the basis of their culture, religion, civilization, well, what do the Jews have to say about that? You're a Nazi. Individualism is our way. That's what the West is all about. This is the classic tension, which is liberalism for America, fascism for Israel. Multiculturalism and diversity for America, Jewish supremacy for Israel.
Not fair.
Jewish supremacy among American Jews, but tolerance and diversity for everybody else. Identity politics and tribalism for the American Jewish community, but colorblind meritocracy for everybody else. That's the...
You mad?
Are basically as a group, as Americans... We are basically being fed this propaganda that makes us vulnerable, things that are not good enough for them. Meanwhile, they protect their interests.
And thus, anti-Semitism is not the most dangerous thing about Nick Fuentes, because he respects, begrudgingly, but he respects what he believes that Jews have accomplished, diverting America's life force to Israel.
Yeah, but when you say Anglican, I think of just like normal people. People who came to America were freaks, okay? That's why I'm trying to make a distinction. Because the freak element is the truly American part. There were Anglicans elsewhere. These freaks wanted to come and have their own little freaky little place where they could be freaks. And then they made it magic with New Thought, okay? And so the reason I'm making the distinction is because of their freaky-deaky nature. Anglicans sound very... milk toast. They sound chill. Being an Episcopalian is like, you might as well be an atheist. Like, being an atheist is actually more edgy than being an Episcopalian. It is like the most basic thing you can be. Like, being an Anglican is like the most norm core thing you can be. But being a weirdo Puritan magic Mormon New Thought, you know, extra person, that's why I'm making the distinction. They may be Anglicans, but they're freaky deaky.
And genociding and remigrating Palestinians, it's not bad because it's immoral.
It's bad because I
bad
can't do
because
it.
it's preventing him from being able to do what he wants to here, which is to be able to treat everyone in this category the same way Israel treats its occupied population, which is to deny them citizenship, to give the government the right to seize their property and give it to Jews, to deny them freedom of movement, to deny them the ability to return home if they travel. That's literally what Fuentes calls remigration. Israel's been trying to successfully and attempted remigrating the Palestinians for 80 years.
We are losing as a civilization of mass migration, and here's the difference.
Can I just say, Piers Morgan is the image that comes up in my head when I can't comprehend something. Like when I'm really struggling to get a thought, I imagine myself being him. Like, trying to look intelligent, but like struggling to quite get there.
In Israel, they have my politics. In Israel, they want to maintain a Jewish majority. If they had it their way, it would only be Jewish people.
Next problem with the Jews is not that they're Jews genetically speaking, it's that they are standing between him and the recovery of Israel in the form of a white Catholic ethno-state. So in conclusion, most of the people who decry Nick do so on the basis of him being an anti-Semite. But as you can see, that's the tip. That's just step one. Past that, I'm not sure what's past step one. He's promised violent remigration at a minimum, and after that, just purgation of anyone who's anti-Christ. And what does that mean? Who knows? Who knows? Theocracy of some sort. This is the same thing that the cargo cult leaders promised their followers, to bring paradise to earth, to bring a land of unlimited cargo. Now, do you see this? This is unlimited cargo for white people, which is
it's almost
insane.
over, Hannah, and I'm going to stop after this.
It's cookie cutter millenarianism. I won't go into that, but you can look it up. Fuentes and the Groypers, they want to have some sort of Catholic theocracy, and then all the whites will get enough cargo, or at least the right whites. Now, I said I wouldn't call Nick anything if I could help it, but I think now
I'm going to call him something, a woman.
To call him what he
derogatory.
Is. A millenarian cargo cult leader.
Okay, that's not catchy. This is the first time I've had a real disagreement. That's calling him a millenarian cargo cult leader makes him sound, one, kind of cool, and two, it just won't catch on. Calling him an annoying woman, that has some staying power.
So questions for further study. Groypers have to be at least in a couple groups. A lot of people just like him because he's a catty bitch.
So you better be careful about those words.
Some people gotta just watch him because it's a funny reality TV show, right? And then beyond that, like where do we draw the limits of the true diehard Groypers? Do Groypers believe this shit? Are Groypers diehard Catholics, or they just like him because he makes fun of Megyn Kelly?
They like to be part of a community.
This video game, and he killed this character in his video game.
How many of them are actually going to put on the uniforms when he starts demanding it, when the time comes?
He won't even put on the uniform.
Are they all fanatical cargo cultists? I have to think no. But papal annexation. This was a big fear of Americans 100 years ago. Maybe we should bring back that fear. Nick's talking about Jews being overrepresented on the Supreme Court. 2/3 of the Supreme Court are Catholics. Talk about overrepresentation.
Really?
Anyway, that's it for me today. Sorry that was so long. I thought it was worth it to
I didn't know that about the Supreme Court.
Cargo cultism in its modern form. One more term I want you to look up.
JD Vance just invited Nick Fuentes to dinner. That's what I'm concerned about, because I'm interested in the swing that JD Vance is going to take to save his political career, noting he's not in the Senate. He only survives insofar as he's vice president and attached to Trump, and Trump is on the fucking way out. So I want to know what his next moves are, and if he's currently inviting Nick Fuentes to dinner, and if Peter Thiel's trying to get Clavicular to go to his parties, that's what I'm interested in.
Palingenesis. It's part and parcel with millenarian cults, but it's the old Stoic belief that the universe follows cycles, and the old universe must be destroyed.
I talk about this in my magic video. I did her first plastic pills. I talked about it first.
Usually it destroys itself, but in Nick's case, we need to destroy it. We need to destroy all of evil so that the universe can be reborn.
Yes, we need to exit the dark age to get back to the golden age. It's cyclical time.
The question is, what happens to, I don't know, the 100, 200 million people that are represented by this category?
Nah, gotta get rid of them.
So
Sorry.
This is the most terrifying part of Nick Fuentes, and he's still gaining momentum. I hope this was a new view for you. Anyway, in any case, my method for this video is based on structural.
Maybe I will reach out to this guy and we can merge this and my MAGA Magic video and talk through it somehow. He may not respond to me, but I can always reach out because we have similar-ish backgrounds.
Semiology, which I didn't make up. I covered it, though, in many, many hours.
Okay. Everyone should go plastic pills. At the very least, please like the video because we did just watch it. I liked it. I don't know what else I can do. Can comment. Okay. I have to go because I have tonsillitis. And we did 3 hours. Sponsored by Nathan. Thank you very much. 3.5 hours. And I'll see you all either tomorrow or sometime soon. Mwah! I don't know how to finish, so you just got to give me a second because I never know.